तीनवा संस्करण है. This is our 103rd SKOCH Summit. I welcome you once again. मोदीनॉमिक्स जर्नी ऑफ इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ इस विशेष सत्र की ओर अब हम अग्रसर हो रहे हैं. इस समय मंच पर हमारे बीच समीर कोचर सर, चेयरमैन स्कॉच ग्रुप, विराजमान हैं. We welcome Professor S. Mahendra Dev, Chairman, Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister, Dr. Pinky Anand, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, Dr. M. Ramachandran, Distinguished Fellow, Scotch Development Foundation and former Secretary, Government of India, and Rohan Kochar Sir, Founder, Scotch Law ऑफिसेस. इससे पहले हम इस सत्र का शुभारंभ करें. आप सभी से हम निवेदन करेंगे, आप आदर भाव सहित अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं. कुछ ही देर में राष्ट्रगान होगा. आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू काइंडली राइज फॉर नेशनल एंथम. आई रिक्वेस्ट एवरीवन इन द हाउस टू काइंडली राइज फॉर नेशनल एंथम. दिव्य सज्जनों, अब राष्ट्रगान होगा.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा. विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा. तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मागे. गाहे तव जय गाथा. जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. जय हे, जय हे, जय हे, जय 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 हे.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आप सभी से निवेदन करेंगे आप अपना स्थान ग्रहण कर लें. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I request our esteemed panel to kindly come forward. Okay, sir. So to begin with, I request Mr. Rohan Kochar, founder Scotch Law Offices, for his opening remarks, and request to take the session also forward.
Am I audible? A very warm welcome once again to the honorable ministers, honorable justices, India's leading economists, constitutional law experts, distinguished public service leaders, captains of industry, doyens of your respective domains, those amongst us today and those who will be joining us through the course of the day. Thank you for joining us for the 103rd Scotch Summit. Modynomics, A Journey of Inclusive Growth, is an important book for India, and it's more than just a book. It's a comprehensive account of Prime Minister Modi's 25 years in public office and an in-depth verdict on his promise of inclusive growth. From his early days in Gujarat to over a decade of national leadership, Mr. Modi has consistently placed the idea of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas at the heart of governance, and this book explores how that philosophy translated into policies and programs that reshaped India's economic and social landscape through financial inclusion, direct benefit transfers, housing, rural electrification, sanitation, healthcare, digital empowerment, and infrastructure expansion. Millions who had long remained on the margins were brought into the fold of development by connecting households with banking through the Jan Dhan Yojana, ensuring clean cooking fuel through Ujjwala, building toilets under Swachh Bharat, electrifying villages, and expanding digital access. Modi ji's governance reached the last mile, both with scale and speed. Equally, the book assesses the reforms that powered India's macroeconomic resilience: GST, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, digital payments architecture, the welfare delivery systems that made growth more transparent, efficient, and accountable. At the same time, it doesn't shy away from asking the central question: has growth been truly inclusive, and to what extent have India's poorest experienced transformation in their everyday lives? Balancing this narrative with evidence, Modynomics places India's journey in a global context, highlighting a country once defined by poverty and scarcity, which has increasingly become associated with opportunity, aspiration, and scale. Marking a quarter century of Modi ji in governance, this book is both a chronicle and a verdict, measuring the distance traveled, the promises kept, and the challenges that remain. It is an essential read for policymakers, scholars, business leaders, and citizens who wish to understand not just the economics of Modi, but the larger story of India's quest for inclusive and sustainable governance. And how we thought we'll structure this book discussion today is by sharing some reflections from the very book that was released a little earlier. So what we've done is we've highlighted certain quotes from the book, which I'll be reading out, and post which I'll be inviting discussants to comment. But at the very opening, let me invite Mr. Sameer Kochar, Chairman, SKOCH Group, and the author of Modinomics, A Journey of Inclusive Growth, for his remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Shivan's not there.
Anyway, so good evening and welcome to this session. I am a reforms historian. So the job of a reforms historian is actually quite difficult. It's like performing an open heart surgery. The reforms are still underway and I am writing about those. So, and it's also very emotionally close to things as they happen. So to be truthful and to be acceptable both are a difficult act to manage. But public memory is short, so it is my job as a reforms historian to rekindle it. So from 1991 to 2010, the reform period was excellent. The performance of the country is very, very good. The governments of the day were performing well. However, 2010 onwards, there was a big problem. The whole country was like facing utter hopelessness. There was policy paralysis. There were these EGOMs, you know, empowered group of ministers, each one of them chaired by Pranab Mukherjee, where every decision used to go and get stuck. They were like these grey towers of power with no accountability. There were corruption scandals galore. There were Commonwealth Games scandal, there was telecom, there was coal. So wherever you look, you would find that there was a scandal, and it was very difficult to hold your head up in the community of nations and tell people that, you know, no, things are all right in India. GDP growth had fallen to a new low, inflation was high, interest rates were high, and joblessness was rampant. Jobless growth was a term that was coined that time. Those of you who recall, there was Jairam Ramesh and followed by Jayanti Natarajan at the Environment Ministry. Between the two people, they probably knocked off 2% of India's GDP by sitting on all environmental clearances that there were, and the incremental capital to output ratio was very, very bad in those days. So this was the scenario when a beacon of hope opened in Gujarat. I remember it was 17th of August 2013. Modi ji had organized a conference on rural development and Panchayati Raj in Gujarat at Mahatma Mandir, where I had gone. And that is where he talked about his idea of building the Statue of Unity. And since people present in the room were all farmers, his connect was so strong. He told them that आप सबसे मुझे एक चीज़ चाहिए, आप सब किसान हैं और सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल भी किसान थे, तो एक एक अपना कुदाल या फावड़ा या कुछ कृषि का इम्प्लीमेंट आप मुझे दे दीजिए, जिससे उसको गला के हम ये स्टैचू बनाएंगे. और द क्राउड रियली वेंट very emotional. Modi, 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 that thing is still reverberating in my head and in my mind. That was the time when Modi ji was not even announced as the prime ministerial candidate. There was a chance that he would be the prime ministerial candidate. So obviously opposition was worried about it. So some people were trying to build a narrative on, if Modi ji comes in, then the economy will suffer because his economic credentials are not so good. In fact, there was a senior minister who made a statement that the knowledge of Modi ji on economics can fit behind a postage stamp. So that was the time I went and I met Modi ji, and he told me कि कोचर जी आप तो इतने सालों से गुजरात को स्टडी कर रहे हैं, नेशनली भी आपने स्टडी किया है, तो आपको क्या लगता है मेरी नॉलेज के बारे में? And I told him that, sir, I think your knowledge of economics is about the same, but your approach is different. You know, the current dispensation is looking at pure economics and economic outcomes, you are looking at economic which is inclusive and governance which is inclusive. So if you look at as a reform historian, I can tell you post 1991, while a lot of reform happened in the economy, the governance reform did not take place. And had the governance reform taken place, the Indian story today would have been very different. Anyway, so I wrote this book, Modinomics. It was the first authorized account of the Gujarat model, and it was released in this very room on 14th February 2014, before the elections. Soon the elections came and the result was a resounding victory. Just before that, I had met a very senior minister in the UPA government who was very keen to understand what was my first impression of Modi ji, first hand impression of Modi ji. So he asked me, and I was replying him candidly, and he also asked me, I asked him a question that was, I was itching to ask. I said, what do you think is going to be the election result going to look like? And he said that I think we will be back, maybe with a lesser majority, but a bigger coalition. And I asked him that what if Mr. Modi gets absolute majority? He was taken aback and he candidly said that we would have made a big mistake, which means that the people at the helm of the power had no inkling whatsoever of the kind of sea change that was happening. People today try to make a narrative of what is happening in Bangladesh, what is happening in Nepal. Actually, something much bigger than that happened, and happened democratically during the elections in 2014, when Modi ji was sworn in with such a huge majority. Come 15th August 2014, from the ramparts of the Red Fort, he introduced the Jan Dhan Yojana. A month later, my book, Defeating Poverty, Jan Dhan and Beyond, came out, which laid out how, based on what he is doing, India is going to be defeating poverty over the next period of time. And 25 crore people have come out of chronic poverty in this 10 years or 11 years that he's been at the helm. Similarly, in 2016, he launched the new Digital India program. The big difference was that from e-governance, we moved to making India into a digital economy, and the results are very apparent. Today, our transactions are higher than all other countries put together. In 2017, there was a question mark on all this growth is there and all is there, but where are the jobs? So we released our first study on Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, which showed how 5.5 crore new jobs had been generated through self-employment through Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. In 2019, when he talked about India 2030, 10 trillion economy, I came up with this book which laid the roadmap. Then came COVID, so we had to revise it. And then came the book India 2047, High Income with Equity, which talks about inclusive growth of India. When we say that India 2047, we mean to say it should have growth that is job generative, it is spatially dispersed, it is sustainable, and it is equitable. Come elections 2024, again there was a big noise about jobs or lack of them. So I think this whole narrative about jobs in offices and factories is incorrect for India. For a population as large as 1.4 billion, self-employment is a very key component, and that is where we find that almost 5.5 crore new jobs were being generated every year during the past 11 years. About 50 crore, 55 odd crores new livelihoods happened in this time period because of all these initiatives. I have done 6 books on Modi ji so far. So when I realized that he's going to be finishing his 25 years in public office, which is going to be on 2nd October, and it is his 75th birthday, I thought the best tribute one could pay to him was to bring together this journey, because I was one of the very few people who had a first-hand account. I had a first-hand account not from him, not from government of Gujarat, but from the people whose lives changed because of Modi ji, because we travel across the country and we chronicle case studies. We chronicle people and their voices as to what changed for them, and all of that is encapsulated in this book called Modinomics, A Journey of Inclusive Growth. And I think that Viksit Bharat India 2047, which has got spatially dispersed, job generative, equitable and sustainable growth, is going to happen in front of all of us. With your help, Jai Hind.
everyone's prior permission, I think it's only befitting that we move from left to right since there's a lady sitting to my left. I'd like to introduce our first discussant for this evening, Ms. Dr. Pinky Anand, who's a senior advocate at the Supreme Court of India. She was an additional Solicitor General at the Supreme Court of India. She's a trustee of the Arts and Cultural Heritage Trust and is a distinguished legal professional, a Harvard Law School graduate, an INLAC scholar, and an honorary professor. She is India's second woman to hold this high constitutional law office. Madam, on page 49 of the book, at the beginning of the chapter, Inclusive Growth in Gujarat, it reads as follows. It was around 2010 when India's once robust growth trajectory began to falter. What went wrong during that critical period remains hotly debated, but a key factor was how policy priorities shifted away from economic development. Environmental clearance delays under the UPA government, for instance, stalled power and infrastructure projects, contributing to a nationwide slowdown. In contrast, Gujarat, under Chief Minister Narendra Modi, charted a different course, one where economic growth and inclusive governance went hand in hand. And over the first decade of the 2000s, Gujarat demonstrated how rapid economic growth could be paired with proactive governance and welfare interventions to reduce poverty dramatically. From revolutionary power reforms that lit up thousands of villages to social programs that empowered women and tribals, from aggressive rural infrastructure drives that fueled a 10% annual agricultural growth to bottom-up planning that involved local communities. The narrative of Gujarat's development highlights how government can be both developmental and inclusive. We'd love to hear your reflections on this passage.
Thank you, Rohan.
It's on.
Thank you, Rohan. So, I mean, I have seen and been with Modi ji from, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 years and seen him from there. And I was in Gujarat when Vibrant Gujarat was celebrated, and not once, but a few years I kept going there every year and to be with him and the whole program. And I think that's what Modi ji actually advocates and brings forward, vibrancy. And that vibrancy is translated into, I mean, Samir was just talking about how people thought Modi ji may not know enough about economics. Modi ji knows everything about everything, and for a reason. Whatever he doesn't know, he listens. He listens, he absorbs, he translates. And translates through people like all of us, like all of you. And that really goes forward. And that's what inclusion is about. The policy programs that go forward. So I remember again, Rohan was talking about environmental clearances and how during Jayanti, Natarajan's time in UPA, it was held back. I think the figure was about 260 environmental clearances, if I'm not mistaken, which were held back, which obviously held up projects. Today you have to have a world where you can go forward. Now let me translate this and fast forward. I travel through the country, and I've traveled earlier. I travel through the world, and I do know and understand that everywhere in the world, our acknowledgement is of a different kind. Yesterday, I mean, we've traveled earlier, we've gone, of course, as your own merit you're recognized, but as a country, India has been targeted now as the country to go to. I mean, aside from the fact that we are the fourth largest economy in the world today, headed towards the third largest economy, and Viksit Bharat, of course, in 2047. The point is, you are recognized as a country because of your standing, because of your economic growth, because of your values, and because of what projections and trajectory we have adopted under the leadership of Modi ji. And I think that has been his greatest thing. And if you actually ask me, I identify 3-4 things in inclusiveness and economic growth. So the first one, Jan Dhan Yojana. I think that really changed the way of the world, because saving is a big feature in economics. I myself was a student of economics in college, but after that I didn't pursue it further. But nonetheless, that much we understand. Saving saves a country, and saving has always saved India, and we must carry on, and Jan Dhan is part of that. The second, which we needed, and that was transformation, is digitalization. And that, if you put it together with Aadhaar, we were working on the case on Aadhaar, and Aadhaar was opposed. Today we have almost 95% of people of Indian origin who actually have Aadhaar. And the linkage of the welfare scheme and the direct distribution of welfare measures, I think, has made again a huge impact on the economy and done away with the middlemen, much to their disliking. But the fact is now there's direct advantage to the people who are to get that advantage. The third and the fourth, Kashmir, economic in a different sense. It was a political and a constitutional change. but it did lead into Kashmir becoming part of what it already was and should have been acknowledged. And I think that changed the narrative for the country. And the fourth, I think, is Operation Sindoor, which recently we have demonstrated our strength. And I say this, and you must be thinking, what does it all got to do with economics? It's not economics alone. Economics has always to be carved out of various different structures, and I say that for law. You have economics, you have law, you have society, you have social, and you have culture. If you mix all of them together, that's the way we can progress, and that's the way we have progressed. He's talking about women. Today, in the last elections, I think our elections are again one of the grandest feature in the world. We have almost equal strength of women and men voting. That is where India is today. So in all senses, in all the classes, whether you take women, whether you take the poor people, you take the poverty-driven people, you take other communities, you take tribals, you take transgenders. We've even come into an equality under this regime. So it's an inclusiveness which deals with the whole process. And as I understand it, our GDP has increased. I mean, what Samir was talking about, during 2010 onwards, a complete paralysis, 2000 to 2010, complete paralysis. But that paralysis has lifted. We have entered into another arena. We have to keep the growth going. The World Bank says we still must maintain that average growth 7.8%, and we need a tremendous amount of investment, so we have to keep going. But that is the advantage of Modi ji. He keeps going, with all of us included, and cheering for the fact that our country today leads the way. So,
Well, thank you very much for those remarks, Dr. Anand. Ladies and gentlemen, our next discussant is Professor S. Mahindra Dev. He is the chairman of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. He has the Prime Minister's ear on economic policy. He served as director and vice chancellor of IGIDR Mumbai from 2010 to 2022 and earlier chaired the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. He was vice chairman of IFPRI's board and a member of the National Statistical Commission and director of CESS Hyderabad. Professor Dev has over 150 publications, 23 books to his name, and has advised global agencies and Indian government committees. He has received several awards, including the Malcolm Adisaya Award. Professor Dev, when we talk about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas at a national scale, which incidentally is chapter number 5 on the book, page 101 reads, one hallmark of Modi ji's method, both in Gujarat and now nationally, is convergence. Breaking silos so that schemes and departments work in tandem for greater impact. The same guiding philosophy, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Viswas, was now being applied to an entire nation. Modi ji as Chief Minister had honed an inclusive governance model that combined rapid economic growth with grassroots empowerment. And now as Prime Minister, he set out to scale those lessons nationally, transforming India's development architecture into one that was more inclusive, transparent, and delivery-oriented than ever before. I'm sure the audience would love to hear your views.
Thank you for inviting me for this book release function. Starting with Gujarat, one is, of course, the business model, very business-friendly policies by then Chief Minister Modi ji. And then when I was doing research on agriculture, one thing we talked about is the main thing is the water management. In Gujarat, we used to discuss a lot in the agriculture research and all, because that's the state, a model state for water management. The check dams were there, Narmada River, and the second thing, of course, the rural electrification, Jyoti Gram scheme, that also revolutionized the thing. And this is probably the first state to have reliable electricity with power reforms. So it benefited a lot, the water thing and all, agriculture as well as the other, even drinking water and other. And coming to the India in the 2014 to 25, there are three things. One is growth, higher growth, and the second is the inclusive, and then sustainability. So all these things, I think, under the Prime Ministership of Modi ji, then it delivered. So one is the growth. There were many reforms, like starting with IBC, and RERA, real estate thing, and GST, of course. So then it's a continuous reforms. Now new generation reforms, ease of doing business and deregulation, and privatization, disinvestment. So many reforms were undertaken. So as a result, it has become attracting the private investment and foreign direct investment. So that led to, because growth major drivers are two: investment and exports. In spite of protectionist policies, we still have a lot of scope for these exports, and investment rate hopefully will increase further. The private investment also will increase. Coming to inclusive growth, there are three things. One is, as Mr. Samir Kochar mentioned, the employment is the most inclusive, quality employment is the most inclusive growth. It covers many sectors, other thing. So that has improved, the formal sector has improved. And the second thing is, also he mentioned the decline in poverty. Almost single digit now, extreme poverty to 4 to 5% now. And also similarly health education thing. Third thing, of course, all these programs, Jan Dhan and the welfare programs, there are so many, including food and nutrition programs and cash transfers to women and also farmers, PM Kisan. So the government has followed two-pronged approach. One is the development, because unless growth is there, if the cake is not high, you can't distribute. So with 3.5% growth in the first three decades, we didn't have anything to distribute. So when there is 7% or so, you can distribute much more. So lastly, on sustainability, also Prime Minister is very keen on that, because this 2070 net zero emissions, and also under his leadership, we already achieved the 50% of renewable energy already. And he's also promoting the lifestyle for environment. So all these things, I think, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas has benefited the country. And we are having Viksit Bharat, again, these three goals, growth, inclusion, and by 2047, we'll have a developed nation, and also benefit the human development indicators like life expectancy and other things will improve much further. And also we climate resilient economy will achieve. So that way it has benefited, and it will benefit. I'm hopeful that we will be a developed country by 2047.
Thank you. Thank you very much for those important remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, our next discussant needs no introduction, but I'll borrow an introduction that someone earlier in the day used. He said, Mr. Samir Kochar is the man of the moment. And let me also say he's a man who's been documenting the contemporary history of Indian reforms for over the past 25 years and studying every state government in India across 35 live indicators of governance, including rural, urban development, sanitation, healthcare, tribal development, women's empowerment, and the likes. It is only befitting then that, sir, I quote to you your passage on page 419 from your book, No State Left Behind, being the chapter. In 2014, India's development landscape was marked by sharp regional disparities. Some states enjoyed robust growth and human development, while others, often derisively labeled the Bimaru Belt, lagged in income, infrastructure, and social indicators. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ascent to power in 2014 brought a declared focus on inclusive growth and Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. A decade later, India stands markedly more unified in its development trajectory. The Modi era explicitly sought to ensure no state was left behind, fostering a model of growth that is spatially dispersed, job generative, equitable, and sustainable.
I thought I was not a part of the discussion, but since you brought it up, so we keep studying governance, and based on all your projects, last year for the first time we came out with a set of indices of state performance, so which looked at what is the kind of outlay the states have and versus what is the kind of outcomes that they have versus what is it that is being received by the people. And those indices told us that no state has been left behind. There is, from Bihar to Maharashtra, there is progress everywhere. A lot of that detail is in the book. So rather than me quoting you the book, I would suggest please buy it. The biggest tribute I can get is that my books get sold. So over to the next speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was my feeble attempt at trying to interview the author coercively, which failed. Our next discussant is Dr. M. Ramachandran, who's a distinguished fellow with SKOCH Development Foundation and a former secretary of the Government of India. As Secretary Urban Development, Dr. Ramachandran spearheaded the JNN-URM. Earlier as Chief Secretary Uttaranchal, he was identified as the infrastructure man, where he took several new initiatives, including public-private partnership projects, lining up $1 billion Asian Development Bank assistance for power, road and urban sectors, and $120 million World Bank assistance for drinking water sector, and so on. Dr. Ramachandran, in the chapter which is concluding in nature, India 2047, Achieving High Income with Equity, on page 663 of the book, the author captures the journey of Modinomics has traversed a transformative era in India's development, the 25-year odyssey of Amritkal from 2022 to 2047, laying out how India can become a prosperous high-income nation while upholding the values of equity, justice and sustainability. In hindsight, the historic mandate of 2014 came with enormous expectations. The Modi government has delivered substantially on basic living standards and dignity of life in its first decade, even as more aspirational goals from expanding the middle class to providing advanced opportunities for youth remain works in progress. These frontiers are expected to be achieved between 2025 and 2047 as India approaches its centenary milestone.
Thank you, Rohan. With your permission, I must start my statement by first complimenting Sri Samir Kochar for taking this trouble. He has narrated what has happened since 2001, if I get it right? 2002 to up to now. Prime Minister Modi's time as Chief Minister and then as Prime Minister. And as he rightly mentioned, as a reforms historian, he has been observing, watching, and it's not just a narration, it's also a confirmation of what he and his team saw, experienced in different parts of Gujarat, subsequently in different parts of the country as well, as to how these programs are making a big difference. So I must compliment you for taking this trouble. I'm not very sure. I'm not a great reader. Professor Dev may confirm. I don't know whether there is such a comprehensive publication which covers both the periods. And not just narration, but the importance of schemes and programs and how they made a difference. And I was going through his book and looking at the various programs which were taken up as Chief Minister. And I think the advantage Prime Minister Modi had was he had ground level interactions with people. So he didn't need to be educated as to what are the problems of people. So he had that awareness and he got that opportunity to convert those thoughts into action through the various schemes. And there are quite a number of schemes and programs mentioned, starting with Jyoti Gram Yojana and things like that, which he has listed, Mission Mangalam, education and the girl child. I know every aspect of society about which we used to keep dreaming, that has been taken up as programs. And I think it's on that foundation that he further built up programs for the country as a whole. And just two observations, Rohan, with your permission. My interaction with Prime Minister Modi was in the early years. As you mentioned, the urban renewal mission was at its peak, and Gujarat would always stand out as far as submitting programs, getting approval, and implementation of programs for the urban sector is concerned. That led to jealousies in the country. How is this one state always ahead? But that was the team leadership which one could see. And whenever I used to visit, he used to insist on meeting him, and he would ask, how are we doing? And generally it's a good performance because there are some states which excel as far as implementation is concerned. So our problem was the resource allocation was limited, And once a project or program is taken up and completed, there wasn't much scope to give more schemes or programs to a particular state. But his keenness was, what more can I take advantage of as far as projects benefiting the people is concerned, and he used to focus on that. As Pinky ji rightly mentioned, I too used to be part of the Vibrant Gujarat conferences at that time, and it was such an event. It was not just a conclave for the sake of a conclave. It was meaningful, it addressed issues, and it came up with the recommendations or programs which need to be taken up, and I think he focused on it as this is one platform which is available where people would get together and point out what more needs to be done, and I think he made it a point to take it forward from there. I'll also mention one instance. I had an opportunity to go to Gujarat where a metro car project was being set up, if I remember correct, and Chief Minister Modi was the key speaker at that event. Normally, when any program is organized relating to a particular topic, there are some general points which political leaders make. But I was so impressed by the speech he delivered. It was metro naturally means it's related to urban transport. His speech right from start till the end was focused on the issues relating to urban transport and how we need to address them. I mean, you all have interacted much more. He is one person who prepares for every occasion. And he had that full knowledge. It was not a political speech at all. He didn't want to refer to other political issues or the like, or even other larger issues. But the focus was on urban transport issues. I thought here is a statesman who can, sort of draft what a policy for proper urban transportation should be. So just those two statements. Then moving on, I think as far as programs are concerned, since you have mentioned my role in the urban development sector also, those were days, Mahendraji, of the plan era. So plan era means resources are there, it has to be fitted into so many things. In urban, we used to get excited about asking for more schemes, more programs so that larger number of people, larger number of cities and towns can be covered. But there is always a cut. So when it is waste management, it will be some small allocation which will be spread over a 5-year period. I was so impressed by Prime Minister Modi's announcement about the SKOCH Bharat mission. I mean, it has been discussed so many times whether a Prime Minister should have made an announcement from Red Fort, but it meant so much for people because, I mean, I have worked in parts of UP where, pardon my saying, women have to get up early in the morning and get out to meet the requirements of nature. So providing for toilets and making it an all India mission and make that work, that shows the type of change which could have been brought about even earlier. But that change happened because of his keenness to bring about that type of a change. Similarly, the Chula Yojana, the cylinders, that made a big difference. I have worked in Uttarakhand. Women have to get out. I mean, sorry to say, men won't be involved in these activities. Women have to go out, collect those firewood, come back and use that to do all the cooking. Now that time has totally changed because of the availability. So I'm not trying to focus on small parts of the entire scheme, but how much of a difference these make to people. And for him, I think the people at the ground level was much more important, and the types of schemes and programs which have been brought about show that there is that. One is the inclusiveness which Sameerji mentioned, and the larger growth as an overall process where everyone gets involved, every part of the country gets involved, every corner gets its advantage. And I think if we take our work forward in this format, the period which Rohan was referring to, we are bound to make achievements, and we are bound to stand out differently as far as the International Committee of Nations is concerned. There is no doubt about that. But it's a question of the center, states all getting together and working together to take this agenda forward, because this is meant for people of us, amongst us, living within the country, and particularly focusing on those who haven't had opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ramachandran, for your insightful comments on infrastructure and where India is headed towards Amrit Kal. And I thank each and every one of the panelists for taking the time to be with us today, and thank you very much to the audience for listening in. We'll do that.
Yeah, I didn't congratulate him. It's a wonderful book. And then, yeah.
I know.
Come in the front.
Fresh copy मुझे.
Thank you, gentlemen and ma'am, for this valuable session. दिव्य सज्जनों, कुछ ही पलों में हम हमारे बहुप्रतिष्ठित स्कॉच अवार्ड्स की तरफ अग्रसर होंगे. And to do the honors, may I please invite Mr. Sameer Kochar, Chairman SKOCH, and Dr. Gursharan Dhanjal, Vice Chairman SKOCH Group, to kindly present the SKOCH Awards. दिव्य सज्जनों, अब हम हमारे अवार्ड्स की घोषणा करने जा रहे हैं. हमारा सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जाता है डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन सियोनी को उनके प्रोजेक्ट मिशन जीवन पर्यंत के लिए. मैं मिस्टर अभिजीत पचौरी, असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर, से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएँ. इस अवार्ड को आप अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन सियोनी के लिए प्राप्त करें. आई रिक्वेस्ट एवरीवन इन द हाउस टू काइंडली पुट योर हैंड्स टुगेदर and keep congratulating each other. दिव्य सज्जनों, इसी के साथ हम हमारे प्लेटिनम स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करते हैं, जो इस समय दिया जा रहा है स्लम रिहैबिलिटेशन अथॉरिटी SRA ब्रिहन मुंबई को उनके प्रोजेक्ट सिटीजन सेंट्रिक डिजिटल सर्विसेज के लिए. डॉक्टर महेंद्र कल्याणकर, चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर, इज हियर टू रिसीव दिस अवार्ड. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our Platinum Scotch Award for Slum Rehabilitation Authority, Brihan, Mumbai, for their project Citizen-Centric Digital Services. अग्रसर होते हैं हम गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर. प्रदान किया जा रहा है नॉर्थ गोवा पुलिस को उनके प्रोजेक्ट स्पॉट द स्कैम के लिए. मैं मिस्टर आलोक कुमार, डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ पुलिस, एंड मिस्टर राहुल गुप्ता, सुप्रिटेंडेंट ऑफ पुलिस, से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो इस समय हमारे साथ मंच पर आएँ. अगले अवार्ड की तरफ अग्रसर होते हैं. सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है गोवा वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट कॉरपोरेशन को उनके प्रोजेक्ट स्टेट इनिशिएटिव्स फॉर वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट के लिए. मिस्टर हरीश अतकोनकर, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर, अगर हमारे बीच में उपस्थित हैं, निवेदन करेंगे कि आप मंच पर आएँ. इस अवार्ड को आप अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए प्राप्त करें. सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड्स फॉर Goa Waste Management Corporation for state initiatives for waste management. सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है हाउस ऑफ हिमालयाज लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट हाउस ऑफ हिमालयाज के लिए. मिस झरना कामत, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर, उनसे निवेदन करेंगे कि वो मंच पर आएं. मिस झरना कामथान. House of Himalayas Limited, ladies and gentlemen, for their project House of Himalayas, the Silver Scotch Award. हमारा अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन पालमपुर को उनके प्रोजेक्ट साइंटिफिक डिस्पोजल ऑफ लेगेसी वेस्ट के लिए। डॉक्टर आशीष शर्मा कमिश्नर इस समय हमारे साथ उपस्थित हैं। उनसे निवेदन करेंगे कि वो मंच पर आए, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। Ladies and gentlemen, Silver Scotch Award for Municipal Corporation Palampur for scientific disposal of legacy waste. इसी के साथ हम हमारे अगले सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करते हैं। न्यू एंड रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन ऑफ आंध्र प्रदेश लिमिटेड, उनके प्रोजेक्ट आंध्र प्रदेश इंटीग्रेटेड क्लीन एनर्जी पॉलिसी 2024 के लिए मिस्टर जे नानी बाबू, डेप्यूटी जनरल मैनेजर, इज हियर टू रिसीव दिस अवार्ड। लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, लेट्स पुट आवर हैंड्स टुगेदर प्लीज। न्यू एंड रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन ऑफ आंध्र प्रदेश, आंध्र प्रदेश इंटीग्रेटेड क्लीन एनर्जी पॉलिसी 2024 के लिए ये अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है। हमारा अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जाता है स्टेट प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट यूनिट उत्तराखंड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट मुख्यमंत्री उद्यमशाला योजना के लिए। मुख्यमंत्री उद्यमशाला योजना के लिए सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है। मिस झरना कामथान, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी, हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं और हमारे अन्य माननीय अतिथिगण, हमारे ऑफिसर्स, स्टेट प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट यूनिट उत्तराखंड से मुख्यमंत्री उद्यमशाला योजना, इसके लिए सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड आपको आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को प्रदान किया जा रहा है। इसी के साथ हमारा अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस टेक्निकल सर्विसेज को उनके प्रोजेक्ट फुट पेट्रोलिंग के लिए। मैं मिस्टर नवीन अरोड़ा, एडीजी टेक्निकल सर्विसेज से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएँ। सर, वी वेलकम यू एंड रिक्वेस्ट यू टू काइंडली बी ऑन द डेज एंड रिसीव दिस अवार्ड। दिस इज़ आवर सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड सर फॉर यूपी पुलिस टेक्निकल सर्विसेज फॉर फुट पेट्रोलिंग। और इस समय हम सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान करने जा रहे हैं मध्य प्रदेश स्टेट एग्रीकल्चर मार्केटिंग बोर्ड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट एमपी फार्म गेट ऐप के लिए। मैं मिस्टर कुमार पुरुषोत्तम, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर कम कमिश्नर से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएँ। लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, मिस्टर कुमार पुरुषोत्तम, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर कम कमिश्नर, इज हियर टू रिसीव द सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड for Madhya Pradesh State Agriculture Marketing Board for their project MP Farm Gate App। अग्रसर हो रहे हैं हमारे गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर। प्रदान किया जा रहा है नॉर्थ गोवा पुलिस को फॉर रेडिकल कंटेंट एनालाइजर मिस्टर आलोक कुमार। अगर हमारे बीच में है मिस्टर आलोक कुमार, Director General of Police, Mr. Rahul Gupta, Superintendent of Police, we request you to kindly join us on this। अगले अवार्ड की तरफ हम अग्रसर हो रहे हैं। यह हमारा गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड है, प्रदान किया जा रहा है मध्य प्रदेश स्टेट एग्रीकल्चर मार्केटिंग बोर्ड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट ई मंडी ऐप एंड एंड टू एंड सॉल्यूशन विद इन MP यार्ड। Mr. Kumar Purushottam, Managing Director cum Commissioner, is here to receive this award. E-Mandi app and end-to-end solution, Madhya Pradesh State Agriculture Marketing Board. देवियों सज्जनों, हमारा बहुप्रतिष्ठित प्लैटिनम स्कॉच अवार्ड, इसकी अब हम घोषणा करते हैं और ये प्रदान किया जा रहा है Mission for Elimination of Poverty in Municipal Areas, that is MEPMA. मैं मिस्टर तेज भरत नाम्बुरी मिशन डायरेक्टर से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएं. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special award for SHE-led enterprises and urban job creation, vulnerable occupational groups formation, empowering SHG women through e-commerce, best entrepreneurs, Prerana Sakhis, street vendors management program, bank linkage scheme, livelihood tracker, SHG, data profiling and digital transformation initiative, empowering urban SHG via skill development and gig economy, empowering urban SHGs through gig economy integration, and Nivasam shelter for urban homeless. इन्हीं सभी प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए आपको ये अवार्ड प्रदान किया गया. दिव्य सज्जनों, यहाँ पे हमारे इस सेगमेंट के स्कॉच अवार्ड से हम विराम ले रहे हैं और थोड़ी ही देर में हमारा स्टेज हम सेटअप करेंगे हमारे अगले सत्र के लिए. ये करना है ना. Ladies and gentlemen, for our next session, may I please invite our esteemed guest on this. Samir Kochar sir is already present here. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. I also request Dr. Gursharan Dhanjal, Vice Chairman, SKOCH Group, to kindly join us on this. We also invite Mr. Neelkant Mishra, Chief Economist, Axis Bank, Head of Global Research and Member of Board, Axis Capital, and part-time member, EACPM, to kindly join us. We welcome you, sir. Thank you so much. Ms. Sindhu Gangadharan, MD, SAP Labs India, Head Customer Innovation Services, SAP. She's also among us. We request ma'am to kindly join us on this, and we really welcome you, ma'am. We also request Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, former Secretary, Government of India, to kindly join us on this. Thank you everyone for joining us here for today's session. दिव्य सज्जनों, ये समय है जब हम एक और विशेष अवार्ड की घोषणा करें. एंड टू डू द ऑनर, आई इनवाइट मिस्टर समीर कोचर, चेयरमैन स्कॉच ग्रुप, ऑन दिस एक्चुअली आवर अवार्ड एरिया, to kindly present the SKOCH India Economic Forum Award for Economic Policy to Mr. Neelkant Mishra, Chief Economist, Axis Bank, and part-time member, Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister. Sir, we also welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, sir, I request you to kindly join us to present the award. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our very special award, SKOCH India Economic Forum Award for Economic Policy, and we are giving this award to Mr. Neelkant Mishra, Chief Economist, Axis Bank, and part-time member, Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. Ladies and gentlemen, through rigorous research and data-driven insights, he has shaped policies that have delivered measurable outcomes for nation's economy. At Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, he has provided invaluable guidance on resource allocation, industrial competitiveness, and sustainable development planning. और मुझे लगता है इतने खास अवार्ड के लिए तालियां जो है वो बहुत कम है. आइए थोड़ी सी ऊर्जा का हम संचार करते हैं. लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन, दीज आर वेरी स्पेशल मोमेंट्स एंड वेरी स्पेशल अवार्ड टू आवर ऑनरेबल डिस्टिंग्विश्ड गेस्ट हियर, मिस्टर नीलकंठ मिश्रा जी. And with this, now I request Mr. Neelkant Mishra to kindly address the gathering. दिव्य सज्जनों, ये समय है जब हम नीलकंठ मिश्रा जी से निवेदन करें कि वो इस समय सभा को संबोधित करें. थैंक यू सर.
Good evening, everyone. I am grateful to the SKOCH Foundation, Mr. Kocher, Dr. Dev, for honoring me with this award. It's actually more than the recognition for the work. It's encouragement to keep doing good work. There is a lot that needs to be done in terms of understanding and advising on what needs to be done going forward. The title given to me was the intersections of democracy, federalism, and development. So for the next 12-15 minutes, I would like to express my views on those topics. The first observation that I must make is that the objective we have set for ourselves is a very, very challenging one. This is not to say that we won't be able to meet it, but it is important to remember that there is no country in the world which has achieved what we are trying to do. And let me set that context clearly. Most developed countries today went from being lower or middle income to upper income over a period of 150 to 200 years. What we are trying to do is achieve the same in about 50 to 60 years, which means that we need to grow at 3 times the pace at which those economies grew. As you know, driving a car at 20 kilometers an hour is a lot easier than driving a car at 80 kilometers an hour. There are so many more risks that you need to take. You need to prepare much better. We need to forecast much better. What is also very important is that as we go through our current phase of development, there is a surplus of labor and a shortage of capital. What this results in is a significant rise in inequality. Most countries that have gone from lower middle income to upper middle income or rich in the last 50 years were autocracies or dictatorships. So like South Korea, Taiwan, Spain, they were not democracies. They did not have universal franchise. In fact, even historically, as the US or the UK or Japan went through this phase of growth, they did not have universal franchise. So what we are trying to achieve is absolutely unprecedented. It has never been done in history. What is also important today, and what makes it especially challenging, is that the pace of demographic transition is much faster than the pace of economic transition. So the drop in fertility rates is much faster than what used to happen in the past, and it is way faster than the catch-up on the economic side, which means that we cannot just wait that 6.5–7% real growth. We can keep compounding for, okay, so if we can't grow at 8–9%, we can keep growing at 6.5–7% for 20 more years and we'll be able to get there. That's not how it works, because the moment the median age starts to cross 40 years, the growth in the economy starts to decelerate. And therefore, we have at most about 20 to 25 years to become rich before we become old. And that should that should set the expectations on the risks that we need to take, the policy risks that we need to take, and the urgency with which we need to act. What needs to be done can be understood through a simple but comprehensive framework of the factors of production. So as we know, there are 4 factors of production that drive economic activity and growth: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. The center has a predominant role to play when it comes to capital. So it's not just the cost of capital, but also, I think, the distribution, the availability of capital. And I think the center has done, especially over the last 10 years, among the various achievements that Mr. Kocher's book highlights, I would add to the fact that the relentless focus on fiscal discipline and making sure that a taxpayer's money is spent wisely has resulted in cost of capital on both the debt and the equity side, which is the lowest since independence. So if you're an entrepreneur today, AAA 10-year bond yields 7%. The 10-year bond yield at about 6.5% and falling is the lowest in a non-crisis period since independence. At the same time, when you see price to equity levels in the equity market, price to earnings level in the equity market being at 22, 23 times, that means that if you are raising capital in the equity market, it is actually the cheapest that you could think of. The 40 billion plus that comes through systematic investment plans is a massive pool of risk capital, which actually can be deployed for meaningful investment activity. So if you're an entrepreneur today, not only do you have the cheapest equity and debt capital, you also have low corporate tax rates. So if you earn profits, you can retain a much larger part of it than you could earlier. In addition, you have many different forms of capital. So you have angel investing clubs that exist in almost every town now. There are many pre-Series A, Series A venture capital firms going all the way to buyout funds. So if there are companies that need exits of $400 to $500 million, all of those are now starting to develop in India, and the financial ecosystem is becoming very rich and diverse. This is not to say that we've solved all problems. We still need to develop our bond markets. The bond markets are still, effectively, you have to prove to the bond market that you don't need the money before you get it. So you need to deepen the bond market. We also need to solve the hard problems of distributing capital in very small chunks. So one of the ways to reduce the inevitable rise in inequality is to make sure that we find ways of giving small ticket loans, small ticket equity to smaller entrepreneurs. So one of the reasons that inequality ends up becoming inevitable or has been inevitable in some of these economies is that it is much easier to give capital in small ticket sizes than it is to give in large ticket sizes. Also in large ticket sizes than it to give in small ticket sizes. Using digital public infrastructure, and as the speakers in the previous panel also mentioned repeatedly, the Jan Dhan Yojana is not just about allowing the people to save in bank accounts. It's also about making sure that financial transactions, creating what is called the India stack, and creating the transactional data which can then be used by lenders. So the frameworks like OCEN, which is the Open Credit Enablement Network, ONDC, these are all things which are still work in progress. There's a long distance to travel, but we need to solve these problems if we have to keep growing without a political backlash from the growing inequality. But that's on the capital side. We have covered a long distance. I think the hardest has been for a democratic government to show fiscal discipline even in the face of political pressure. And I think the government, especially the commitment of the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has resulted in this reduction in the cost of capital. The remaining three, and this is where I get to the issue of federalism, the remaining three factors of production, which is land, labor, and entrepreneurship, are mostly in the realm of the state governments. You can see that, again, for people who are obsessed with Delhi, it is much easier, especially if you're a foreign journalist, if you're a Financial Times, Economist, Wall Street Journal, it is much easier to characterize the whole country through what's happening in the central government and in Delhi. But what is also happening, and this is again something that the Scotch Foundation has taken the leadership on, is the grassroots changes that are starting to happen as the process of reforms is now starting to shift to the state level. This is something that the center has been advocating, has been trying to push, realizing very well that if it comes to, say, land reform, passing a central law is going to be very difficult, but doing it at a state level is much more practical and feasible. And so we are starting to see, even in the last 6 months, what we have seen is that, for example, the Rajasthan government in July allowed women to work night shifts. We have seen the Tamil Nadu government whitelisting a large number of industries so that they don't have to apply for pollution control board approvals. We have also seen the Odisha government set up a massive textile park. I don't know if you're aware, but the Japanese apparel major Uniqlo is setting up a very large textile park in Cuttack. It is so large that even in India's own textile hub of Tirupur, there are entrepreneurs which are, in order to take advantage of the whole supply chain being set up in Cuttack, are actually buying land and setting up factories there. So there is a remarkable pace of activity which is now visible in some of the states. So states like Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, I think they are starting to change things very rapidly in order to attract new investments. States like Chhattisgarh are trying hard, though of course their infrastructure is not as well set as that of Tamil Nadu. When I was chairing this panel at Semicon India, so I'm also involved with the India Semiconductor Mission, I was moderating this panel with the partners of Indian firms. So as you know, in semiconductors, all Indian firms have needed to have partners because we don't have the technology. So we needed to get foreign partners. So this panel was with partners of Tata Electronics and CG Power and Keynes Technology and so on and so forth. What was stunning was the feedback from the partners. So the positive feedback that they're getting. So for example, the partner for Renesas, CG Power, was effusive in its praise for the support they've got from the Gujarat government. They were absolutely impressed that from groundbreaking to the first output was only 14 months. In fact, now I can count, I'm running out of fingers to count on the number of factories where I've heard that from the time that the factory was planned to the first output was between 9 to 15 months. So when Tesla does it in China in 9 months, it is celebrated the world over. But I think you should appreciate that in India, there are many states and there are many factories where these things are starting to happen. So there is quite a bit of activity. I think the federal structure of the government, of the country, make sure that there is diversity. And so you can start to see that some of the states are doing way better. So for example, Odisha and Jharkhand had the same per capita GDP, GSDP in the year 2000. And today, Odisha has a 2x per capita GSDP. They are both mineral-rich states. It's just the quality of administration, the quality of reforms that are happening. And the way things are changing, I'm quite sure that this gap is going to widen. And while Jharkhand is where I grew up, I would very much want it to grow faster. But it shows how state-level reform can actually transform a state. As Bihar, which is my ancestral state, heads to the elections, I'm quite alarmed that development and job creation and industrialization doesn't even seem to be part of the agenda. So this tells you that for a state to progress, democratic pressures need to build. So it is the pressure from the bottom. It is the challenge. For example, if you take the issue of urbanization, the states that are where the percentage of urban population is starting to rise are the states that are also starting to take a lead in urban reform. So one of the biggest challenges for India, one of the biggest sources of demand for India in the next 15 to 20 years is going to be the creation of housing stock. An average Indian today lives in about 130 square feet of constructed space. An average Chinese in a tier 3 town has 550 square feet of constructed space. An average American has 700 square feet of constructed space, and it is still growing at 1% a year. So as we think about where the end demand will come from, as much as I would like to emphasize that we focus on export competitiveness, we have to remember that that is only useful from the perspective of productivity. When it comes to end demand, it is mostly domestic end demand that must drive our manufacturing, and the creation of housing stock, the creation of urban infrastructure is going to be an absolutely critical part of doing that. So when you see reform process, so those of you who have been to Bombay recently or Mumbai recently and have seen the remarkable changes in infrastructure, the oohs and the ahs that you get, that you can travel from Nariman Point to the entrance of BKC in 20 minutes, this needs to be replicated to 1,000 towns and cities. When you see the recent restructuring of the urban administration of Bangalore, these are all reflections of the fact that, that as the urban share of population starts to find a voice, the state governments are starting to respond. And this is how democracy works. Unless there are these pressures, you can keep advising from the top. Development cannot be pushed down the throats of people. It has to emerge. So the role of advisors like myself or the leaders that they're in the audience would be to accelerate that process, make sure that the importance of relaxing supply constraints in the real estate market, in urban administration, that process accelerates so that we can grow faster and move to the process of Viksit Bharat. We so far the fund allocation to various local governments in India is less than 5%. So whereas in China 53% of fiscal resources flow directly to the city governments, in India that number is less than 5%. Even when you think about the Urban Challenge Fund that was launched in the budget this year, which I think is a remarkable innovation, I think it's a very important scheme. However, the allocations to that need to be 10x higher. It cannot just be 1 lakh crores over 5 years. I think it needs to be 10 lakh crores over 5 years, and that is when the process of acceleration and growth can happen. So we have successfully gone from looking at everything from a prism of Delhi, the lens of Delhi, to going to the state capitals. I think it's very important that we take that lens and push it down to the district level. The Honorable Prime Minister also in the last 5-6 years has been saying that we need to have district level growth plans. Remember that most Indian states are larger than countries. For example, in the state of UP has as many people as Indonesia. It has the same number of districts as Indonesia has provinces. So one district of UP is as big as a province of Indonesia. You have so much analysis on federalism in Indonesia, but you have absolutely no analysis on how district level plans need to be created. So what is remarkable and encouraging is that the current UP government and their advisors are starting to come up with district level plans, and I think this needs to happen at a national level. I'll conclude by saying that data from at the underlying level shows that growth post-pandemic has surprised positively. It is much better than feared. The global shocks and the widespread anger that we have seen, I think, have created a much better setup for trying, because the acceptability of transformational disruptive reforms is now much better than it used to be. And I just hope that our policymakers and our political leadership take advantage of this acceptability of transformational reform and accelerate our growth towards Viksit Bharat. With that, I thank you for being patient on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. And it's the time that once again I request Mr. Samir Kochhar sir, Chairman SKOCH Group, to present the SKOCH Challenger Award for Excellence in General Insurance to Ms. Girija Subramaniam, Chairman cum Managing Director, the New India Assurance Company Limited.
Actually, award is being presented by Professor Mahendra Dev. I am just a part of the picture.
Okay, sir. I request Professor Mahendra Dev ji to kindly do the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our very special SKOCH Challenger Award for Excellence in General Insurance to Ms. Girija Subramaniam, Chairman cum Managing Director, the New India Assurance Company Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, under her stewardship, New India Assurance recorded a remarkable turnaround. Girija ji expanded outreach by establishing a state-level office in Gujarat to serve over 5,000 Gram Panchayats and served at GIC and the Agriculture Insurance Company. Sir, I request for our Scotch Awards, and for that, before we, ji sir.
We'll finish the special awards first.
ठीक है sir, as you say. जी. With this, I request you to present the Scotch CEO's Choice Award in Leadership in Technology to Ms. Sindhu Gangadharanji, MD, SAP Labs India, Head Customer Innovation Services, SAP. Ladies and gentlemen, at a time when artificial intelligence was still emerging at scale, she has championed its integration into the very fabric of enterprise software, ensuring that innovation was not confined to a few specialists but become the responsibility and capability of every developer simultaneously. She elevated the voice of India's technology ecosystem on the world stage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for such a wonderful personality who is present here right now.
So behind this very successful woman is a man called Brian Pinto, who's taking pictures. So why don't you join us on stage and we can have a picture with you in it. My pleasure. Welcome. Thank you so much. Come. Come.
I think I don't need this, huh? Yeah, it should work. Good evening, everybody. It's an absolute honor for me to be here. I'm super grateful to Scotch Awards and super grateful to you, Mr. Kochar, for creating such an amazing platform and for recognizing the phenomenal work that everybody here has been doing and continue to do. I think you're giving a platform for voices that are many times not heard. So super grateful to you and very much honored to be here amongst all of you dignitaries. It has been an absolute joy for me to just listen in to the kind of work that all of you are driving forward and towards Viksit Bharat towards 2047. Now, if I stand here and kind of think back on why some of the questions that came up during multiple conversations, right? And how are we all progressing towards Viksit Bharat? And how is technology playing such a huge role in that transformation? And one question that I often get in my various roles is, hey Sindhu, what is the next wave when we talk about the $280 billion technology industry, right? And I think that's a question that comes up quite often. Now, if I just think about it, the answer for me has been very clear, very simple as well. Because if you ask me, and I think you heard it also from our previous speaker, and today India is on the cusp of becoming a developed nation, right? And becoming a developed nation is also on that platform of becoming a global product innovation powerhouse. Now, for me, that when we talk about being a global product innovation powerhouse, this is not just a change in terms of how we look at it as an ambition, but fundamentally, I think there's a change in the mindset of how we are approaching things, right? And it's also a fundamental change towards how India is positioning itself on the global stage. But honestly, if you ask me, if you want to get there and if you really want to kind of position things differently, I truly believe that there are 3 bold shifts that needs to happen. And that bold shift has to happen from all of us, the industry. It has to happen from the academia. It has to happen from change makers. It has to happen from innovators. Because especially, I mean, you know, all heard what happened yesterday from a geopolitical challenge that we are all facing. And it's not just yesterday, right? Every single day we wake up to things that are evolving, things that are changing, which also needs us to recalibrate, reimagine what does it mean for all of us, right? Now, when I talk about bold shifts that we need to make in order to get to be that powerhouse of product innovation, I think first and foremost, if you just look at from a technological advancements, today, I mean, we've made a major progress when it comes to being the services industry of the world. There's no question about that. When you look at our IT and services industry, it has really propelled our economic growth over the last decades, right? That's no question about it. But in the age of AI, right, where technology is changing so fast, I truly believe that we have to reimagine the services playbook in this whole era and this whole age of AI. Because like I said, IT and services industry clearly has been a bedrock, but the future of how AI is changing the game, I mean, we all know it, whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not, AI is already everywhere there, right? I mean, we are using it almost on a daily basis. Generative AI is pretty much mainstream, if you ask me. The world of agentic AI is also happening, right? I mean, we are talking about a future where agents are going to talk to each other, right? Agents are going to do a lot of the work that normally humans are going to do, right? And given that this is the atmosphere in which we live, the way we think about services is also changing significantly, right? And so for India, this is not a disruption where we kind of fear that kind of change, but I think there's a massive opportunity for us to also lead that change, right? And in order to lead that change, what we also need to do is to make sure that when we go back to our curriculums, when we go back to our academia, when we go back to how our young talent who comes out of universities are equipped, we really need to give them all those kind of right skills, how they think in this world of AI. Like, how do you look at a problem? How do you look at problem solving itself? How do you look at design thinking as a construct of how you break down problems, right? It's because technologies will keep evolving. But how do you look at a problem? How do you design think it? How do you make sure that you think through end-to-end systems which can scale, which can stay the test of time? This is a little bit of the thinking. The domain skills which are so much needed when we talk about solving some of the world's most critical business problems, right? These are some things which I truly believe needs to happen, a change in that core talent agenda. And for that to happen, we need a deeper collaboration between the industry. We need a deeper collaboration, of course, with the government. We also need a deeper collaboration with the corporates as well. Now, the second thing which, if you may allow me, what we also need to move is, we need to move from this consumption mode to more creation mode. Now, what do I mean by that? Today, if I look at India, I mean, clearly, we've established ourselves, there's no question, over the last decades, we've been kind of supporting and running the world's largest businesses, right? We've clearly seen as that powerhouse when it comes to supporting the world's back office. But however, if we want to build that brain trust, where India is looked as the place when it comes to brain trust, it also matters in terms of how much of that IP gets created here in India, right? How much of that patents get generated here in the country. And that I think is also super important, that we think through that IP creation and how do you go about, today we say 2,700 of the GCCs have their home in India. And big part of the GCCs is building innovations from India for the world. I represent SAP here, and 40% of the SAP R&D is happening out of India for the world. But what's even more exciting is quarter of the patents that come out of SAP globally comes out of our location. And now that if you change into nationwide the creation of IP. I think we talked a lot about the digital public infrastructures that exist today. I mean, if you just look at homegrown solutions, be it an Aadhaar, where we are creating digital identities for more than 1 billion people today. We have everything that we need, right? I mean, you have the India stack, you have the third largest startup ecosystem here in the world. You have a phenomenal ecosystem of GCCs, you have the startups, you have the academia all coming together, and you have a market where innovations can be consumed as well. So my second point, which I would really say that we are continuing to work on as a nation and continuing to work on also in my role at NASSCOM, is to build that product first thinking, which I think is super important. So it's not enough to build, but we also need to know how to own what we create. Now, the third thing which I want to leave you with is also, we can use AI as an equalizer, right? Because AI, if used in the wrong way, can become a divider. So it's super important for us that we leverage the technology in the right way so that we can have that as an equalizer for the development. I mean, we talked about how we go into the villages of the country, bringing in that the change, the transformation. And here again, technology has a significant role to play to kind of drive that change at scale. But if you, again, here, with the technologies that are evolving at such a high pace, if we don't bring in inclusive strategies, then we again leave out people, right? So I truly believe that we need to have that fair access, we need to have that linguistic diversity, which is so much needed in our country. Focus on skilling, again, becomes very, very important, and so that we can kind of eliminate the social divides which can very quickly come up if technology is not used in the right way. So, and here again, if you think about the potential of using AI, be it in healthcare or education or financial equity, I think there's massive opportunity for us to use that in the right way, but it will always also depend how do we use it in a responsible, in an ethical, and how do we train those models in a way with the right set of data so that the bias that we sometimes see in societies around us does not result in the solutions that we provide. Right, I mean, so where does all of this leave us, right? Clearly, India's path forward is to become a product nation. That's my call to action. One that marries the scale and the discipline of our services legacy, but like I said, with that boldness of that new age IP creation, with the boldness of creating new digital products, new platforms. And I don't think this is a dream of any distant future or anything like that. This is something that is a responsibility for us, that we do that in the right way at this point in time. Because if you think about if India can shape the digital products of the future, right, we cannot just be the powerhouse of the economy, we can totally redefine how that economy will look like. Now, I want to leave you with one final thought, because if you just look at some of the greatest transformations that we have seen in the world, right, doesn't matter where it is, one thing is constant. It's the boldness with which you can drive that transformation, right? The courage to also that is needed to look beyond the successes of the past and to really reimagine the future that we are trying to build. And I truly believe that all of us here in India has that courage, right? That courage to innovate, that courage to take those risks, that courage to own our creations, and also to build a growth story that is truly inclusive, that is truly sustainable, and that is truly bold. With that, thank you so much once again, and I wish you once again a great rest of the evening, and grateful once again to you, Mr. Kochar. Thank you.
दिव्य सज्जनों, आज हमारा बहुत ही विशिष्ट स्कॉच सीईओज चॉइस अवार्ड इन लीडरशिप एंड इन टेक्नोलॉजी प्रदान किया गया मिस सिंधु गंगाधरन, एमडी सैप लैब्स इंडिया, हेड कस्टमर इनोवेशन सर्विसेज सैप को, और आज हमने उनको सुना भी। उनका हम बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करते हैं, और पुनः तालियों के साथ हम उनका आभार भी व्यक्त करते हैं और अपना स्नेह और सम्मान उन्हें देते हैं। Ladies and gentlemen, with this, I once again request Professor S. Mahendra Dev and Mr. Sameer Kochar, Chairman, SKOCH Group, to present the SKOCH Challenger Award for Corporate Social Responsibility to Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, former Secretary, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, former Secretary, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir has made path-breaking contributions to the evolution of corporate social responsibility in India, widely acclaimed as the architect of India's CSR policy. A tireless advocate, he has championed innovation, impact assessment, and the equitable distribution of CSR funds. Even beyond government service, he continues to guide and inspire CSR practice and philanthropy in India. Congratulations, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee here. And I request sir to kindly come with your remarks and address the gathering.
We need a change of heights, right? Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Such a privilege and a pleasure to be here this evening and to get a chance to share some thoughts and feelings with all of you. Let me begin with the person who's chairing this session. Mahendra Dev, a renowned economist, but for me, importantly, sharing some of our finest moments when I was Director General of the Indian Council of Social Science Research, and he was Director for CESS in Hyderabad. I retain the same respect for you then as I did today. Thank you. To the gentleman who calls himself reformist historian, reform historian, Samir Kochar. I admire him for many reasons, but recently the one reason for which my admiration for him has grown is because he has resisted the measurement of Indian development by standards, criteria, which are Western or European or American. He has come up with criteria which are Indian by nature. And his message to us is, why should we not judge other nations by Indian criteria? And there is a growing feeling enunciated by many Indians today, that message which goes out to the West and says, you talk to us, we talk to you. You preach to us, we disconnect. And that really is the message that Prime Minister Modi, whom we honor today with the release of the book, sends out loud and clear across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States of America. I'm saying this also for a reason. One of the things that I have of recently championed the cause of, apart from CSR of course, is sustainability. And why is the subject of sustainability so closely linked to Prime Minister Modi? There is a reason. Think. The first ever presence that India ever had in the sustainability ecosystem of the world was 1972, the Stockholm Conference. One leader went from India, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. And she left an indelible mark on that conference because she linked poverty to sustainability and said, the biggest polluter is poverty. 43 years had to pass before India again made its presence felt in the sustainability dialogue of the planet. I fast forward you, ladies and gentlemen, 43 years. Prime Minister Modi becomes Prime Minister in 2014. 2015, United Nations Conference on Climate Change, Paris, 2015. 1 year, just 1 year after the Prime Minister has taken charge. He changes the entire thought process of the world with what now stands together as the Paris Agreement. That Paris Agreement from 2015 to 2025, all of these 10 years, has ruled the conversation on sustainability. Because the one part that we cannot forget about that Paris Agreement is that we must control the rise of the planetary temperature to below 2 degrees centigrade. A thought given by whom? A prime minister who is the prime minister of a nation for just 1 year. I fast forward you again. 2021, the same conference of parties, the same United Nations Climate Change Conference. Not Paris, now Glasgow in the UK. And this same Prime Minister, who's now been Prime Minister for 7 years, makes 5 promises before the planet, before the globe, before the Committee of Nations. Everybody can't recall all 5, and I don't wish to recall them. We need to recall only one. And he said India will achieve its net zero target by 2070. And all of us here, every single one of us, are committed to achieving that target by that date. So what am I trying to get across to you here? That in every real substantive dialogue anywhere in the world, India holds its head high. Why is it that through all this tariff mess that has been created by one single individual in the United States, India has stood firm? Why have we stood strong? Why have we said we will not play by your rules while the rest of the world kowtows before you? It's because we have the strength in our legs, in our hearts, in our hands to be able to stand and say, all right, if you dictate this way, we will find our own path. Another thing that Samir talks of, and which I strongly support and have done so for many years now, is what we call Bharatiyata. In other words, what can we provide that is unique? That the West will stand back and say, that is the Bharatiya model, the Indian model, the unique model. And in 2009, when I was Secretary for Public Sector Enterprises, we created the fabric for corporate social responsibility. A Bharatiya model created in India, for India, by India. A model that brought in aspects that the rest of the world had never even thought of. Again, I can go on and on till the cows come home, but just very briefly. We took CSR from the back room to the boardroom. We got the best minds of companies to deliberate upon and set the CSR agenda for their companies. I realized, what is India's strength? And it came to this: civil society organizations. The corporate world derisively called them the chappal and jhola walas. But they are those organizations that live and breathe in communities, that work their chappals off night and day, serve the disadvantaged, the voiceless, and those who don't find a place in the dialogue of our nation, who are not in the mainstream. We have 3.3 million of them in India. We are home to the largest number of civil society organizations on the planet. And I said in my model that whereas corporate India would provide the funds for carrying out CSR projects, the implementing agencies would be civil society organizations. See the Bharatiyata of this model. Finally, what is CSR? Can we Indianize that too? And indeed we did. When I was writing the CSR law way back in around 2010-11, there were no SDGs. They came later. What did we have? We had the Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs. And if you look at Schedule 7, I derived my complete inspiration from the MDGs, but Indianized them completely. And Schedule 7 is an Indianization of the world thought process. It has again stood the test of time. I will conclude with one observation, which I now will take from Neelkant. And he said, rightly, that Orissa as a state developed so much faster than Jharkhand. There is a reason which I feel proud of being, because Mr. Ramachandran was also in this room. I served under Mr. Naveen Patnaik. I had also served under his father, Biju Patnaik. What did Naveen Patnaik do that was different? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the bureaucracy of India was known as the steel frame, subsequently referred to derisively as the bamboo frame. But Naveen Patnaik restored the steel frame of the Orissa bureaucracy. He ran his administration through his administrators. He empowered them. He allowed them to execute the briefs that he, as a political leader, placed before his state. And it is they who drove, developed, and implemented that agenda. And the result is there for everybody to see. And so with that, Samir, to Bharatiyata, to Indian models, to the ability for us, everyone in this room, to be proud of what we are doing. Thank you. Jai Hind.
दिव्य सज्जनों, हमारा स्कॉच चैलेंजर अवार्ड फॉर कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आज प्रदान किया गया डॉक्टर भास्कर चैटर्जी, फॉर्मर सेक्रेटरी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को. एंड वी आर रियली ऑनर्ड टू हैव यू हियर सर. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर शेयरिंग योर वैल्यूबल थॉट्स. और
No problem. I have kind of upset her entire rundown list today, and I realize that she must be having a really, really difficult time. There is something called reading the room. So, I keep, and I've done 103 conferences so far. So I can read the room. So I just keep making changes on the fly as to what I think is going to, fly at that point in time. So at this juncture, I would really like to thank Professor Mahinder Dev for giving us his time. He has to go and then come back again. So thank you very much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you so much, sir.
So we'll do one group picture before you go. So we'll all come here.
दिव्य सज्जनों, ये समय है जब हम एक बार फिर से अपनी तालियों से अपना स्नेह और सम्मान हमारे सभी स्पेशल अवॉर्डीज को प्रदान करें.
So you must be wondering, what are these special awards and what are these other awards? The difference essentially is that all of you have had to compete for your award. So there is a competitive award which goes only to organizations and projects, and the People Award is by discovery. So these are discovered and discussed through our college of existing special awardees, and then they make a choice, and then it's put to a vote, and the special awards are chosen. Now, having given the special awards, we make them sing twice for the supper. One is they have to give a speech, and second is that they have to join me for giving some of the awards. Now, these are people from all over the country, and this is the third show today. It's literally been like a movie hall, one show ends and the next one begins, and there are 200 people waiting outside. But each one of them has an incredible story of difference that they have made, and I think we patiently have to listen to their stories before we move to dinner, and that's the part 2 of Singing for Your Supper. So please be seated, and we'll invite you one by one to help me give away the awards and listen to everyone's story.
धन्यवाद
Has
सर,
to go at
आपने
8, so let him.
जी मेरा काम बहुत आसान कर दिया. सो हमारे पहले सेगमेंट के लिए जो अब हम अवार्ड्स की घोषणा करने वाले हैं, उसके लिए समीर कोचर सर और मिस्टर नीलकंठ मिश्रा जी को मैं आमंत्रित कर रही हूँ. और इसी के साथ हम हमारे आखिरी के 3 सेगमेंट्स जो हैं वो बचे हैं, और उसमें से पहले सेगमेंट की ओर अग्रसर हो रहे हैं. सबसे पहले सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड ये प्रदान किया जा रहा है एक्सिस बैंक लिमिटेड को, उनके प्रोजेक्ट कॉन्टैक्टलेस स्ट्रेटजी इन बाउंस कलेक्शन. मिस्टर सुदीप्तो नाग, प्रेसिडेंट एंड हेड ऑफ रिटेल पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट ग्रुप, उनसे निवेदन करेंगे वो मंच पर आएँ. थोड़ी सी ऊर्जा का संचार करते हैं, आइए तालियों के साथ. थैंक यू सो मच. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our Silver Scotch Award for Axis Bank Limited for contactless strategy in bounce collections. और इसी के साथ अग्रसर होते हैं हमारे अगले सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर. प्रदान किया जा रहा है बेल स्टार माइक्रो फाइनेंस लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट ओमनी चैनल रीपेमेंट के लिए. मैं मिस्टर जे बालाकृष्णन, चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर, और साथ ही मिस्टर धनशेखरन एस, CTO से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच की ओर अग्रसर हों और अपना अवार्ड आप प्राप्त करें. सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड बेल स्टार माइक्रो फाइनेंस लिमिटेड को इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है देवियों सज्जनों उनके प्रोजेक्ट ओमनी चैनल रीपेमेंट के लिए. दिव्य सज्जनों, इस समय कैनरा बैंक को कैनरा बैंक हाइब्रिड POS के लिए गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड से सम्मानित किया जा रहा है. मैं मिस्टर विक्रम दुग्गल, चीफ जनरल मैनेजर से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएं और अपना अवार्ड जो है प्राप्त करें. लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन, गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड फॉर कैनरा बैंक हाइब्रिड POS के लिए. दिव्य सज्जनों,
So if
हमारा
you are wondering why are we taking back the awards, they will be packed safely and given back to you. Only after you've stayed for dinner and consumed it. You have to prove that you ate.
अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है ऑरेंज रिटेल फाइनेंस इंडिया प्राइवेट लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट ऑरेंज रूरल एमएसएमई फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन इनिशिएटिव। मंच पर आमंत्रित करते हैं मिस्टर बालाचंदर, बिजनेस हेड एमएसएमई को। आइए हम सब तालियों के साथ उनको कंग्रेचुलेट करें। Silver Scotch Award for Orange Retail Finance India Private Limited, Orange Rural MSME Financial Inclusion Initiative। दिव्य सज्जों, इस समय सेटिन क्रेडिट केयर नेटवर्क लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट सेटिन ईआरपी के लिए सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है। मिस्टर सुनील यादव, चीफ इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफिसर, इस समय हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं। वी रिक्वेस्ट यू सर टू काइंडली बी ऑन दिस एंड रिसीव अवार्ड फॉर योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सेटिन क्रेडिट केयर नेटवर्क लिमिटेड एंड द प्रोजेक्ट इज सेटिन ईआरपी। और इसी के साथ सिक्किम स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड को सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है उनके प्रोजेक्ट कैश केंद्र के लिए। मैं मिस प्रेरणा सेंजोम, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएँ। आई रिक्वेस्ट मिस प्रेरणा सेंजोम, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर, टू काइंडली रिसीव द अवार्ड फॉर हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सिक्किम स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड एंड द प्रोजेक्ट इज कैश केंद्र।
Tell us what is Cash Kendra?
Cash Kendra basically is a facility that we've been providing to all the people at the rural level. It's basically like, we have micro ATMs, at unbanked areas of Sikkim. Because as you all know, Sikkim is a hilly terrain with a lot of topographical problems. So what we do is, instead of people coming to the bank, what we do is we ask the people, we go to the people at the villages. Thanks.
Wonderful. Managing currency is a very, very big problem.
दिव्य सज्जनों, हमारा अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है द क्विलन कोऑपरेटिव अर्बन बैंक लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट साइबर शील्ड के लिए। मैं निवेदन करूंगी के बैप्सन चेयरमैन से कि वो मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। दिव्य सज्जनों, एडवोकेट के बैप्सन चेयरमैन receiving a Silver Scotch Award for the Quillen Cooperative Urban Bank Limited for the project Cyber Shield. ये समय है जब हम कैनरा बैंक के लिए गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करते हैं उनके प्रोजेक्ट मोबाइल बैंकिंग सर्विसेज फॉर माइनर कस्टमर्स के लिए। मिस्टर विक्रम दुग्गल, चीफ जनरल मैनेजर, उनसे हम निवेदन करेंगे कि मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें कैनरा बैंक के लिए। और प्रोजेक्ट है मोबाइल बैंकिंग सर्विसेज फॉर माइनर कस्टमर्स। लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, दिस इज़ आवर गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड। अग्रसर होते हैं हमारे अगले गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर। प्रदान किया जा रहा है सेंटर फॉर डेवलपमेंट ओरिएंटेशन एंड ट्रेनिंग, उनके प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन के लिए। मैं मिस्टर आर कल्याण, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएँ। Gold Scotch Award for Center for Development Orientation and Training, and the project is Financial Inclusion. और इसी के साथ इंडसइंड बैंक को गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड हम प्रदान करने जा रहे हैं उनके प्रोजेक्ट इंडी फॉर बिजनेस एमएसएमई मोबाइल बैंकिंग ऐप के लिए। निवेदन करेंगे तरुण सैनी, डिजिटल प्रोडक्ट्स हेड से, कि वो मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। Ladies and gentlemen, Gold Scotch Award for IndusInd Bank for their project Indie for Business MSME mobile banking app. और हमारा अगला गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न डेवलपमेंट फाइनेंस कॉरपोरेशन लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट नॉर्थ ईस्ट एंटरप्राइजेस डेवलपमेंट स्कीम के लिए मैं मिस्टर मनोरंजन दश डिप्टी जनरल मैनेजर से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न डेवलपमेंट फाइनेंस कॉरपोरेशन लिमिटेड को गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है उनके प्रोजेक्ट नॉर्थ ईस्ट एंटरप्राइजेस डेवलपमेंट स्कीम्स के लिए। और इसी के साथ पहल फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड को गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड अब हम प्रदान करने जा रहे हैं उनके प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन के लिए। मैं मिस पूर्वी भवसार मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर से निवेदन करूंगी आप मंच पर आएँ। Miss Purvi Bhavasar, Managing Director, is here to receive Gold Scotch Award for.
This is the last one. After that, I'll come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gold Scotch Award for Pehel Financial Services Private Limited for their project Financial Inclusion. Sir, for this segment, we have 2 more awards.
I have an urgent media call. He's been telling me to come.
Right, sir.
So, I'll come back and do the 2 more.
Of course, sir. We'll wait for you. Ma'am, sir, we have one more session. That is India 2047 Center of Excellence, and we have our 2 honorable speakers here, and I'll be inviting them to say a few words. For this session, we have Ms. Sai Satya Singh, Analyst, Scotch Development Foundation, amongst us. I request you to kindly address the gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, with a strong focus on inclusive growth and environmental sustainability, she has been involved in community service initiatives and aspired to contribute in improving the lives of underprivileged communities. She has also worked on policy research and program evaluation in areas such as electric mobility, green jobs, and digital inclusion. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Am I not audible? Hello. Hello. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I would like to start my presentation with a question. Who controls a nation in the 21st century? Is it the government we elect, or the algorithms and infrastructure that process our data? This question is not rhetorical. Across the world, nations are realizing that sovereignty is no longer just bounded to territory, but also the ability to govern its digital infrastructure, secure data, and also shape rules in its cyberspace. The Scotch Development Foundation has been working on translating this realization into a rigorous framework. We today propose a way to measure digital sovereignty and security systematically through indicators derived from actual laws across the countries US, UK, China, India, and the European Union. Now the question arises, why digital sovereignty matters, and what exactly is digital sovereignty? Digital sovereignty is the capacity of the state to control its digital destiny, its data, its infrastructure, and its governance frameworks. Without it, even the strongest states can be dependent on external platforms for communications, cloud services, as well as critical infrastructure. Yet, despite its importance, we lack a clear systematic way to assess how sovereign or vulnerable digitally a country is. This is the gap our framework addresses. As you can see on the screen, our framework has 7 pillars: legal and jurisdictional sovereignty, data protection and digital rights, cybersecurity and resilience, digital infrastructure and cloud governance, risk management and compliance, AI, automation and emerging tech accountability, institutional and regulatory framework. These 7 pillars are built around the key themes. Now, the key themes are: first, governance and legal autonomy. Does the country have laws and regulations and institutions to govern its digital space independently? Second comes its technological infrastructure. Is the country investing in its digital infrastructures from data centers to telecom networks? Third comes the data sovereignty and localization. How is it sensitive? How the sensitive data is stored, processed, and protected? Next comes the cybersecurity capacity and a country's economic and industrial capability. Each pillar is measurable through a set of indicators and sub-indicators, allowing for comparability across countries and over time. There are 38 indicators and 136 sub-indicators identified. For the implication of the framework, we can imagine a country that has a robust cybersecurity defenses, but relies almost on, for the majority of their work, on foreign data centers. Under this framework, the country would score high on security, but low on sovereignty and terms of infrastructure and data control. This approach allows us to diagnose vulnerabilities and prioritize areas of interventions, rather than treating digital sovereignty as a mere political slogan. I would also like to specially mention that these indicators are not abstract or speculative. They are coded directly from legal and regulatory frameworks across 5 countries. We have systematically analyzed laws, strategies, policy documents, and translated the qualitative fragmented provisions into quantitative comparable indicators. This framework not only makes our framework not only makes it theoretically robust, but also empirically verifiable. Each framework is in the binary yes-no form and is mapped directly to the law that substantiates its being. For example, if we go to the pillar data protection and digital rights, as you can see on the screen, the first right, which is very important for a data fiduciary, that is right to access. When you go on the countries, the countries are marked either yes or no, and when you click on the yes, it will directly lead you to the law, which, okay, I hope, yeah, okay. So it will directly lead us to the law where the indicator has been mentioned. This framework, lastly, I would like to say, it creates a structured basis for comparative research on digital governance. It also provides a diagnostic tool for policy analysis, identifying where sovereignty is strong and where it is compromised, and offers evidence to hold states and corporations accountable for digital sovereignty. As I conclude, I would like to say, just as GDP gave us a universal metric to talk about economic strength, we need a framework to talk about digital sovereignty with rigor and clarity. This indicator framework, or you may call the SKOCH indicators, is our first step in the direction by building a systematic, law-grounded, and comparative tool to evaluate digital sovereignty across nations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sai Satya Singh. Sir, we have one more speaker for this session, if you allow.
No speaker now.
Okay, sir.
Speaker.
दिव्य सज्जनों, इसी के साथ हमारे स्कॉच अवार्ड्स की तरफ हम एक बार फिर से अग्रसर हो रहे हैं। इस समय निवेदन करूंगी समीर सर के साथ मिस सिंधु गंगाधरन जी से कि आप आएँ और अवार्ड्स को आप एक एक करके सबको दें। दिव्य सज्जनों, हम गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करने जा रहे हैं। दिया जा रहा है प्रोटीन ई गवर्नेंस टेक्नोलॉजीज़ को उनके प्रोजेक्ट डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बाय प्रोटीन ई गवर्नमेंट टेक्नोलॉजीज़। मिस्टर गौरव रामदेव, चीफ ग्रोथ एंड मार्केटिंग ऑफिसर हमारे बीच में हैं। उनसे निवेदन करेंगे कि वो मंच पर आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। दिव्य सज्जनों, ये हमारा गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड है प्रोटीन ई गवर्नमेंट टेक्नोलॉजीज़ के लिए। और इसी के साथ इस सेगमेंट के हमारे प्लेटिनम स्कॉच अवार्ड की हम घोषणा करने जा रहे हैं। इसे प्रदान किया जा रहा है झारखंड स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट यूनिफाइड सिक्योरिटी सॉल्यूशन एंड एनपीए मैनेजमेंट के लिए। Mrs. Biba Singh, chairperson, is here to receive this award. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our Platinum Scotch Award. We are giving this award to Jharkhand State Cooperative Bank Limited for Unified Security Solutions and NPA Management.
विभा जी कुछ बताएंगी इस प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में, क्या कर पाए हैं आप लोग?
साइबर सिक्योरिटी का है ना,
एनपीए।
हम लोगों ने एनपीए मैनेजमेंट के लिए एक अभियान चलाया और उस अभियान के तहत रिकवरी का कार्यक्रम जो था वो बहुत ज़ोर शोर से हमने पूरे स्टेट में इसको लागू किया। और भीसी के द्वारा भी हम लोग मंथ में एक बार बैठते हैं और मैं खुद भीसी में बैठती हूँ और जितने भी हमारे आरएम हैं उनके साथ, ब्रांच मैनेजर के साथ, ताकि उनमें एक नया जोश आए और वो अपने काम को बखूबी कर सके ठीक से। और उसी का यह नतीजा है कि हम लोगों का एनपीए जो है, जिस समय मैं चेयरपर्सन बन कर के आई थी, आपको मैं बता दूं एक बात कि उस समय हमारे एनपीए का जो ग्रॉस एनपीए था वो 52% था और अभी हमारा एनपीए ग्रॉस एनपीए घटकर 9% पर आ गया है। और नेट एनपीए हमारा 22% था जो अभी घटकर 3% पर आ गया है। तो मैं एक ही बात कहना चाहती हूँ आप लोगों के सामने, रख हौसला बुलंद तेरी भी उड़ान होगी, देखेगी दुनिया सारी एक दिन तेरी भी ऐसी पहचान होगी। इसी के साथ ही मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देती हूँ। थैंक यू, धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
मेरे ख्याल लेडीज़ के साथ और इनके साथ तो एनपीए करना बहुत ही मुश्किल होगा।
इसी के साथ हम पुनः अग्रसर होते हैं सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर। प्रदान किया जा रहा है BSCS यमुना पावर लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट वर्चुअल कस्टमर केयर सेंटर एंड AI वॉइस बोर्ड के लिए। मिस्टर दीपांशु अग्रवाल, एडिशनल वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, इज हेयर टू रिसीव द अवार्ड एंड वी हैव अदर ऑफिसर्स ऑल्सो। दिव्य सज्जनों, ये हमारा सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड है, प्रदान किया जा रहा है BSCS यमुना पावर लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट वर्चुअल कस्टमर केयर सेंटर एंड AI वॉइस बोर्ड के लिए। और इसी के साथ रिलायंस जियो इन्फोकॉम लिमिटेड के लिए हम सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करते हैं। मिस्टर गुरमीत संधू सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, उनसे हम निवेदन करेंगे कि आप मंच की ओर आएँ। दिव्य सज्जनों, ये सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड है, प्रदान किया जा रहा है रिलायंस जियो इन्फोकॉम लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट AI इनेबल्ड ज़ीरो टच RFS एंड ऑटो AS बिल्ट। Ladies and gentlemen, now Mr. Gurmeet Sandhu, Senior Vice President, is here to receive this award. This is our Silver Scotch Award for Reliance Jio Infocom Limited. अगले सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करते हैं हम इंटर आर्क बिल्डिंग सॉल्यूशन लिमिटेड के लिए उनके प्रोजेक्ट स्टार के लिए SAP ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एंड रिजुविनेशन के लिए मिस्टर मनीष गर्ग CEO इस समय हमारे बीच में हैं। निवेदन करेंगे कि आप मंच पर आएँ। इस अवार्ड को आप इंटर आर्क बिल्डिंग सॉल्यूशन लिमिटेड के लिए प्राप्त करें। यह हमारा सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड है, आपको प्रदान किया जा रहा है प्रोजेक्ट स्टार के लिए। और इसी के साथ अग्रसर होते हैं हमारे अगले सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर। दिया जा रहा है JSW सीमेंट लिमिटेड को मॉडल डिजिटल प्लांट के लिए मिस्टर संजय शर्मा चीफ ऑपरेटिंग ऑफिसर हमारे बीच में हैं। निवेदन करेंगे सर आप मंच पर आएँ। मिस्टर संजय शर्मा चीफ ऑपरेटिंग ऑफिसर, दिस इज लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड फॉर JSW सीमेंट लिमिटेड फॉर देयर प्रोजेक्ट मॉडल डिजिटल प्लांट। अग्रसर हो रहे हैं गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर। प्रदान किया जा रहा है NIS फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट सर्विसेज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट एनहांसिंग सिक्योरिटी एंड एफिशिएंसी विद CCTV सर्वेलेंस। निवेदन करेंगे मिस्टर सुरांशु घोष जनरल मैनेजर से कि आप मंच पर आएँ। अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें ऑर्गेनाइजेशन NIS फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट सर्विसेज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के लिए। दिव्यों सज्जनों, थोड़ी सी ऊर्जा का संचार कर दीजिए, तालियां ज़रूर बजा दीजिए। धन्यवाद। हमारा अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है गुजरात फ्लोरोकेमिकल्स लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट साइबर शील्ड 360 के लिए या साइबर शील्ड 360 के लिए। डॉक्टर जगन्नाथ साहू CISO हमारे साथ उपस्थित हैं। सर आप मंच पर आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। गुजरात फ्लोरोकेमिकल्स लिमिटेड इज़ रिसीविंग साइबर शील्ड 360 उनका प्रोजेक्ट है, उसके लिए उन्हें सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है। डॉक्टर जगन्नाथ साहू इज़ हेयर CISO टू रिसीव द अवार्ड। इसी के साथ अगले सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की हम घोषणा करते हैं। प्रदान किया जा रहा है रिलायंस जियो इन्फोकॉम लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट इनोवेटिव डाटा एनालिटिक्स एंड ऑनलाइन इशू ट्रैकिंग। मिस्टर गुरमीत संधू सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, उनसे हम पुनः निवेदन करेंगे सर आप मंच पर आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। Mr. Gurmeet Sandhu, Senior Vice President, is here to receive this award for Reliance Jio Infocom Limited Silver Scotch Award for Innovative Data Analytics and Online Issue Tracking. इसी के साथ ध्वनि रूरल इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम्स को उनके प्रोजेक्ट M ग्रांट ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग CSR ग्रांट गवर्नेंस इन इंडिया के लिए सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है। मिस्टर सुनंदन मदन को फाउंडर एंड मिस्टर स्वप्निल अग्रवाल को फाउंडर, आपसे निवेदन करेंगे आप मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। Ladies and gentlemen, Silver Scotch Award for Dhwani Rural Information Systems for M Grant Transforming CSR Grant Governance in India. इसी के साथ गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की ओर एक बार फिर से अग्रसर होते हैं। ये प्रदान किया जा रहा है संबंध हेल्थ फाउंडेशन को उनके प्रोजेक्ट डिजिटल फर्स्ट सॉल्यूशन फॉर पब्लिक हेल्थ डिलीवरी के लिए आमंत्रित कर रहे हैं मिस्टर संजय सेठ, फाउंडर ट्रस्टी को, कि वो आएँ और इस अवार्ड को प्राप्त करें। मिस्टर संजय सेठ, founder trustee, such valuable presence, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for Sambandh Health Foundation, our Gold Scotch Award for their project Digital First Solution for Public Health Delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. थोड़ी सी एनर्जी, थोड़ी सी ऊर्जा. बहुत धन्यवाद.
Would you tell us briefly about the project? What have you been up to?
Thank you for this recognition. We have developed a digital program implementation methodology which has enabled us to deliver health programs at scale. So we have been able to implement, we've been working mainly in adolescent health and tobacco control, and we've been able to deliver these programs to lakhs of schools in very remote areas, so the last link, etc. And of course, we are now trying to expand it into other areas also. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
देवियों सज्जनों, एक बार फिर से रिलायंस जियो इन्फोकॉम लिमिटेड से हम मिस्टर गुरमीत संधू, सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट को मंच पर आमंत्रित करते हैं। इस समय उन्हें गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड के लिए हम मंच पर आमंत्रित कर रहे हैं। उनके प्रोजेक्ट एम कंस्ट्रक्ट डिजिटल ऐप फॉर फाइबर फील्ड एग्जीक्यूशन के लिए रिलायंस जियो इन्फोकॉम लिमिटेड
Thank you, Scotch. I think this was a biggest transformation project which we have brought in the country because we were the last operator, so we wanted to see that what best or different we can do to make life easier for our customers as well as for our own teams also. So most of the operators have been doing a lot of work on the spreadsheets. So we brought in these tools and applications for our engineers across all the 28 states, across 2,000 cities, so that whatever the work they are happening or doing, it is dynamically updated into the system without any manual intervention. So they were responsible for what the cost optimization they are doing, what is the capex spent, and we can have the reports on an hourly basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and we can see the progress on a daily basis.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we don't have to ask anybody. It is already updated in the system on a regular basis. So what we did that we have cut down our time in actually delivering the network, one. And secondly, we brought in the services to the customer much faster compared to the other operators.
Thank you. Gulshan, I think our singers have started singing ahead of time because it's distracting.
मिस्टर गुरमीत संधू, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी आप थोड़ा आसपास ही रहें क्योंकि हम कुछ और अवार्ड्स के लिए आपको मंच पर आमंत्रित करेंगे। देवियों सज्जनों, इस समय हम गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा कर रहे हैं। द गुजरात स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड के लिए उनके प्रोजेक्ट टेक्नोलॉजी अम्ब्रेला, मिस्टर रामजी चावड़ा, जनरल मैनेजर आईटी एंड CISO से निवेदन करेंगे कि वो मंच पर आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। गुजरात स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड के लिए आपके प्रोजेक्ट टेक्नोलॉजी अम्ब्रेला के लिए दिस इज़ आवर गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड। With this, I request Mr. Gurmeet Sandhu, Senior Vice President, to kindly be on stage once again for the Gold Scotch Award for Reliance Jio Infocom Limited. और आपका जो प्रोजेक्ट है जिसके लिए ये अवार्ड दिया जा रहा है वो है इनोवेटिव रिवर्स इनवॉइसिंग सिस्टम फॉर वेंडर्स। आपसे निवेदन करेंगे आप हमारे साथ मंच पर ही रहें। मिस्टर गुरमीत संधू, सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट। हम एक और अवार्ड आपको प्रदान करने जा रहे हैं रिलायंस जियो इन्फोकॉम लिमिटेड के लिए। गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड हम यहाँ पे प्रदान कर रहे हैं इनोवेटिव एंड टू एंड FTTX डिलीवरी सॉल्यूशन के लिए। देवियों सज्जनों, ये सभी महत्वाकांक्षी प्रोजेक्ट रिलायंस जियो इन्फोकॉम लिमिटेड की ओर से सभी के लिए लाभदायक और सभी के लिए कारगर सिद्ध हुए हैं। आइए ज़ोरदार तालियों के साथ हम अपना आभार जो है उन्हें व्यक्त करें। बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र के लिए हम गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की इस समय घोषणा कर रहे हैं। आर्ट लेजर एंड एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट प्रोग्राम उनके इस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए हमारे बीच में बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र से हमारे ऑफिसर्स यहाँ पे उपस्थित हैं। निवेदन करेंगे कि आप मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन, आर गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड फॉर बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र फॉर आर्ट लेजर एंड एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट प्रोग्राम। देवियों सज्जनों, इस सेगमेंट का आखिरी अवार्ड लेकिन बहुत ही सशक्त अवार्ड हमारा प्लेटिनम स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय दिया जा रहा है स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को उनके प्रोजेक्ट स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग थ्रू ऑटोमेशन के लिए। मिस्टर कामेश्वर राव कोडवंती, चीफ फाइनेंशियल ऑफिसर, मिस्टर यांतान डारजी नेगी, DGM, और मिस्टर सोमनाथ साहू, DGM, आप सभी से हम निवेदन करेंगे कि मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया की ओर से आप प्राप्त करें। स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को प्लैटिनम स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग थ्रू ऑटोमेशन के लिए।
This is the third time SBI has got this award for financial reporting, and it's so difficult for most people to understand that how a PSU bank can do such wonderful job in financial reporting. Would you like to comment? What's the secret of your success?
Thank you, sir, first of all, for awarding us this prestigious. It took a little over 2 years, sir, to be frank. Complete automation of our financial reporting system. Earlier, we used to take around 55 to 60 days for completion of our March results. But during the last 2 years, we could automate all the different platforms are there for integration. We have different tabs. All these things have been automated, integrated. Now we are able to declare our results within 30 days by engaging more than 3,500 chartered accountants, the largest being recruited by any bank in India. So this is the...
Congratulations. Excellent.
दिव्य सज्जनों, इसी के साथ हम हमारे स्कॉच अवार्ड्स के आखिरी सेगमेंट की ओर अग्रसर हो रहे हैं।
Now we have the presentation. I'm disrupting again. Now before the last segment. See, if you do the last segment, then no one will hear the presentation.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to invite Mr. Jevin Aryan, analyst, Scotch Development Foundation, on this. Ladies and gentlemen, Jevin is a graduate from the Master of International Affairs program at Columbia University, where he studied security policy, conflict resolution, and East Asia. He has a keen interest in great power competition, US, India, China relations, and technology policy. Jevin, we welcome you.
Thank you. No, I think I'm good. Thank you. I seem to be the last speaker, so I'll try to keep it short. Thank you again for that introduction. I work with the SKOCH Development Foundation's India 2047 Center of Excellence, and one of the objectives of the center is to look at how developing emerging and strategic technologies can enable the goals of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Viksit Bharat 2047. And I would like to contextualize this, this objective within the framework of the current geopolitical situation. As we all will be aware, there has been a securitization of trade and technology, wherein developing advanced technologies are now being seen as national assets that must be protected by the countries and the entities that are developing it. We've seen that technology transfers and diffusion are being seen to be restricted. There is a big component of trade controls creating barriers to international cooperation as well. We are seeing supply chains and intellectual property not being shared with others, or either being partly shared with others who are close allies and partners, or being shared subject to strict restrictions. At the same time, there are different spheres of technological adoption that are taking shape. There's one sphere in which the US is leading. American technology is being embraced by US allies and partners. At the same time, China is developing its own set of alternative options and marketing itself to the rest of the world, and especially global South countries. These alternatives may not be as advanced as the American options, but the gap between them is has been closing for the past decade. So this presents some very key questions related to the development of India. For example, how does India gain access to advanced technologies and enabling components? Should India join the US-led bloc or attempt to develop indigenous technologies without international collaboration? Or is there space to walk a middle path? Put another way, should India be a passive consumer, a supplier, or an active consumer and supplier? At the same time, while achieving self-reliance and securing national interests are imperative, what does self-reliance in technology, in the technology sector, mean for India? Can it only be realized if all components are researched, designed, developed in the country? Moreover, what are India's national interests in this space, and how can they be secured? Yet another challenge is gaining a whole of society, whole of nation approach to developing out advanced technologies. This requires close coordination and collaboration among the different stakeholders. For example, the national government, the state government, industry, and academia. Each of these players also need to understand what role they can play amongst each other. Take, for example, quantum technologies. Very briefly, the applications of quantum can be divided into three parts. There is quantum computing, wherein qubits are used to substantially enhance the computational power of the system. This in turn can enable faster, more precise, and more efficient processes. Examples include using a quantum computer to break traditional forms of encryption and compromising data security, or stimulating particles at a molecular level to discover new drugs or even manufacture better batteries. Something that even today's supercomputers struggle with. There's quantum sensing. Quantum sensors can react to the minutest of changes in magnetic, electric, or gravitational fields. Thereby, they're able to feel things that ordinary sensors miss. For example, we've been hearing of instances where GPS signals have been spoofed or jammed. Quantum gyros and accelerometers can provide an alternative form of navigation that can keep a ship or aircraft on course even when GPS is unavailable. Third, there is quantum communications. Using the process of quantum key distribution, a secure link can be established, wherein if someone tries to eavesdrop or intercept that communication link, the quantum state at both ends change, and the unauthorized interception is detected. For example, banks or government agencies can exchange encryption keys over fiber optic networks using quantum, and it's immediately noticeable if the connection is being tapped or not. So at the center, we've been working on a research paper looking at quantum. It looks at the public policy and what India has been doing, including the National Quantum Mission, state-led initiatives like the Amravati Quantum Valley out of Andhra Pradesh, and the Karnataka Quantum Mission. We are then comparing them with developments taking place in other pioneering countries, for example, the US, with its National Quantum Initiative Act, as well as what different departments of the federal US government are doing, what they're up to in the cybersecurity area, as well as what individual states are doing. And then China is playing a very different game altogether, where they're taking very literally a whole of society approach, wherein each and every stakeholder is working toward a centrally defined top-down goal. During our research, which is still a work in progress, we've been able to identify some very key sector-specific use cases. These sectors are defense and security, financial services, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, among the others that you can see. Very quickly, I'll just give a few very important examples. So in the financial services sector, quantum communication standards can be used to enhance customer logins and transaction authorizations. Quantum principles can create an unhackable multi-factor authentication protocols. Quantum sensors can be used in the healthcare sector, developing nanoscale sensors capable of detecting biomarkers in blood or breath samples for early cancer detection and monitoring of diseases. In the agriculture sector, developing hypersensitive sensors for real-time in-field measurement of soil nutrients, moisture levels, contaminants, thereby potentially reducing fertilizer usage as well as water usage and maximizing crop health. Finally, in the weather forecasting sector, quantum computers can be used to solve complex fluid dynamics that govern weather systems, leading to more reliable forecasts for events such as hurricanes and improving long-term climate change projections. This brings me to a very important point, that quantum is one of those technologies which has a dual use potential. What I mean by that is it can be used for civilian purposes as well as for military and national security purposes. So while quantum can enable DPI infrastructures, it can also have strategic uses, or they can both overlap. For example, financial services can provide better quality of service to the customer, as well as be imperative to secure the national infrastructure. As a result, India must contend with quantum becoming securitized. For example, one of the first technologies to be securitized was 5G. Next was semiconductors. We are seeing AI systems being shared, but also being developed into spheres. Quantum, as it develops, as it advances, would be the next technology to come in focus. So some of the other findings and potential roadblocks and potential questions that we have been looking at are, for example, can India take for granted that it will be able to depend on others to secure access to R&D in quantum? Can India alone develop this advanced technology to maturity without international collaboration? Or should New Delhi adopt a dual development approach, wherein it collaborates with like-minded partners on the civilian aspects of quantum, while fostering indigenous capabilities in the areas where quantum would be used for national security purposes? And lastly, some of the roadblocks we've identified might not surprise any of you here, but I'll go through them nonetheless. The first is a lack of private funding in quantum R&D. Now, lack of private funding in a pre-commercial R&D space is not a surprise, nor is it unique to quantum. Yet, public funding on its own may not give efficient and promising results. So we are looking at ways in which the government may be able to de-risk and incentivize the private sector. Another related aspect is to assess whether the larger private sector is even aware of what they can do with quantum technologies and how they can be adopted in their respective areas. Second, there definitely is an insufficient indigenous supply chain. This connects with the dual use and securitization challenge that I highlighted earlier. Short to medium term plans to develop a quantum supply chain in India currently has low probability. Hence, import of components or whole systems from countries like the US, China, or the European Union would be required. We are looking at ways in which greater momentum can be applied to targeted self-reliance in quantum and developing foundational quantum capabilities. Third, the absence of effective coordination among many stakeholders is an early stage challenge. This is an administrative issue for the most part, but all stakeholders have an interest in the successful development and adoption of quantum technologies in India. Thus, we require platforms and forums on which a coordinated and whole-of-society approach can be discussed, outlined, and followed. This was just a very quick overview of what we've been working on. If any of you have any questions or it's to speak to any of your interests, please do look me up and get in touch. Be more than happy to engage with you. With that, thank you, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Jevinarian, analyst, SKOCH Development Foundation, for your valuable insights. और इसी के साथ हम हमारे SKOCH Awards के आखिरी सेगमेंट की ओर अग्रसर हो रहे हैं. निवेदन करेंगे समीर कोचर सर से, चेयरमैन SKOCH ग्रुप, और साथ ही डॉक्टर भास्कर चैटर्जी जी से कि आप आएँ. लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन, हमारे इस सेगमेंट के पहले सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड की हम घोषणा कर रहे हैं. प्रदान किया जा रहा है बजाज ऑटो क्रेडिट लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट ब्रिज KYC के लिए. मैं मिस्टर रोहित उल्लास बुदे, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, और मिस्टर श्रीकांत अपन्ना, CTO से निवेदन करूंगी कि वो मंच पर आएँ. आप में जितनी भी ऊर्जा बची है उसी के साथ तालियां बजा दीजिए. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. बजाज ऑटो क्रेडिट लिमिटेड को सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड यहाँ प्रदान कर रहे हैं ब्रिज KYC उनके प्रोजेक्ट के लिए. अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है ICICI प्रूडेंशियल लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनी लिमिटेड को फॉर आउटस्टैंडिंग कस्टमर सेंट्रिक डिजिटल इंश्योरेंस प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए. मिस जैस्मिन मेहता, चीफ मैनेजर, इज हियर टू रिसीव दिस अवार्ड. थैंक यू सो मच, मैम, फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे, and I request you to kindly be on this and receive this award. This is our Silver Scotch Awards, ladies and gentlemen. ICICI Prudential Life Insurance Company Limited को प्रोजेक्ट आउटस्टैंडिंग कस्टमर सेंट्रिक डिजिटल इंश्योरेंस प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए ये अवार्ड हम प्रदान कर रहे हैं. अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है जम्मू एंड कश्मीर बैंक लिमिटेड को इम्प्रूविंग फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी ऑफ द बैंक के लिए. अगर हमारे बीच में मिस्टर खुर्शीद मुजफ्फर, जनरल मैनेजर, डिविजनल हेड, ROI हैं, तो उनसे निवेदन करेंगे कि वो मंच पर आएँ. मिस्टर खुर्शीद मुजफ्फर अगले अवार्ड की तरफ अग्रसर हो रहे हैं. अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है टाटा AIA लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लिमिटेड को फॉर ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग लाइफ इंश्योरेंस विद नेक्स्ट जनरेशन कन्वर्सेशनल AI के लिए. निवेदन करेंगे मिस्टर देबांजन रॉय चौधरी, डिजिटल इनोवेशन मैनेजर, से कि वो मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप टाटा AIA लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लिमिटेड के लिए प्राप्त करें. दिस इज़ आवर सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, फॉर ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग लाइफ इंश्योरेंस विद द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन कॉन्वर्सेशनल AI. और इसी के साथ द बिहार स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड को JLG और SHG फाइनेंसिंग के लिए सिल्वर अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है. मैं मिस्टर श्री इंद्र नारायण, डिप्टी जनरल मैनेजर, और साथ में मैम भी हैं, उनसे निवेदन करेंगे कि मंच पर आएँ. इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें. द बिहार स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट JLG और SHG फाइनेंसिंग के लिए. देवियों सज्जनों, ये समय है जब हम द सुप्रीम इंडस्ट्रीज़ लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी के लिए सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान करें. मैं मिस्टर वासुदेव शर्मा AVP सस्टेनेबिलिटी से निवेदन करूंगी कि मंच पर आएँ सर, आप इस अवार्ड को प्राप्त करें. the Supreme Industries Limited Energy Efficiency Silver Scotch Award. और इसी के साथ हम गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करते हैं। प्रदान किया जा रहा है मुथूट माइक्रोफिन लिमिटेड को। उनके प्रोजेक्ट ESG एक्सीलेंस के लिए निवेदन करेंगे मिस्टर सदाफ सईद, चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर से कि आप आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। Congratulations, sir. This is our Gold Scotch Award for Muthoot Microfin Limited for Project ESG Excellence. और इसी के साथ ज़ोमैटो लिमिटेड को सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड हम प्रदान कर रहे हैं उनके प्रोजेक्ट प्लास्टिक फ्री फ्यूचर पैकेथॉन के लिए। मिस राजकन्या महापात्रा, मैनेजर, इज हियर टू रिसीव दिस अवार्ड। Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Zomato Limited Plastic Free Future Packathon। एक महत्वाकांक्षी प्रोजेक्ट है जिसे साकार किया गया। सिल्वर अवार्ड आपको दिया जा रहा है मिस राजकन्या महापात्रा, मैनेजर, यहाँ पर हैं इस अवार्ड के लिए। अगला सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक को उनके प्रोजेक्ट ग्रीन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए। निवेदन करेंगे मिस्टर तेजा सावंत, लीड डिज़ाइन एंड प्लानिंग से। मंच पर आएँ सर, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। मिस्टर तेजा सावंत, लीड डिज़ाइन एंड प्लानिंग, एंड two beautiful ladies are also here to receive the award. This is our silver Scotch Award for IDFC First Bank for the project Green Infrastructure. और इसी के साथ मेरे फेवरेट बैंक पंजाब नेशनल बैंक को अवार्ड दिया जा रहा है। ये हमारा सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड है प्रोजेक्ट PNB वन बिज कॉरपोरेट मोबाइल बैंकिंग के लिए। मिस्टर किशले तिवारी AGM IT हमारे बीच में हैं, उनसे निवेदन करेंगे सर मंच पर आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। पंजाब नेशनल बैंक को सिल्वर स्कॉच अवार्ड हम प्रदान कर रहे हैं PNB वन बिज कॉरपोरेट मोबाइल बैंकिंग के लिए। And we have the valuable presence of Mr. Kishle Tiwari, AGM IT, here to receive this award for Punjab National Bank. और इसी के साथ गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है कंटेनर कॉरपोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट ग्रीन इनिशिएटिव के लिए। मैं मिस्टर स्वयंभू आर्य, एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर प्रोजेक्ट एंड सर्विसेज से निवेदन करूंगी मंच पर आएँ, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें। साथ में हमारे और भी ऑफिसर्स हैं। देवियों सज्जनों, ये हमारा गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड है फॉर कंटेनर कॉरपोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया लिमिटेड उनके प्रोजेक्ट ग्रीन इनिशिएटिव के लिए। एक इनिशिएटिव हम भी सब ले लेते हैं, थोड़ी सी तालियां बजा देते हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और अगला गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड प्रदान किया जा रहा है गैब्रियल इंडिया लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट मैक्सिमाइजेशन ऑफ रीन्यूएबल एनर्जी इन ऑपरेशंस। निवेदन करेंगे मिस्टर नरेंद्र गाबा, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट से। मंच पर आएँ सर, इस अवार्ड को आप प्राप्त करें आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए। गैब्रियल इंडिया लिमिटेड फॉर मैक्सिमाइजेशन ऑफ रीन्यूएबल एनर्जी इन ऑपरेशंस। दिस इज़ आवर गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड। हमारा अगला गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड इस समय प्रदान किया जा रहा है पावर ग्रिड कॉरपोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया लिमिटेड को उनके प्रोजेक्ट एजुकेशन फॉर वायलेंस अफेक्टेड चिल्ड्रन। मिस्टर जसबीर सिंह ED CSR इस समय हमारे बीच में उपस्थित हैं। साथ में हमारे बाकी ऑफिसर्स भी हैं। मैडम इज़ ऑल्सो हेयर टू रिसीव दिस अवार्ड। ये हमारा गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड है देवियों सज्जनों पावर ग्रिड कॉरपोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया लिमिटेड के लिए उनके बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण और महत्वाकांक्षी प्रोजेक्ट एजुकेशन फॉर वायलेंस अफेक्टेड चिल्ड्रन के लिए। और इससे पहले हम प्लेटिनम अवार्ड की घोषणा करें, एक और गोल्ड स्कॉच अवार्ड इसे प्रदान किया जा रहा है सेंट्रल बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को फॉर ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग रिक्रूटमेंट ऑन बोर्डिंग विद डिजिटल सॉल्यूशन। मिस पॉपी शर्मा, चीफ जनरल मैनेजर HR से निवेदन करेंगे मैम मंच पर आएँ और इस अवार्ड को आप सेंट्रल बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के लिए प्राप्त करें फॉर ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग रिक्रूटमेंट ऑन बोर्डिंग विद डिजिटल सॉल्यूशन। And last but definitely not the least, प्लैटिनम स्कॉच अवार्ड की घोषणा करने जा रहे हैं, प्रदान किया जा रहा है इंडियन ओवरसीज़ बैंक को फॉर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट एंड IOB स्मार्ट के लिए। मिस्टर कौस्तुभ मजूमदार, जनरल मैनेजर एंड चीफ रिस्क ऑफिसर इज़ हियर टू रिसीव दिस अवार्ड। लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन, इस सेगमेंट का और इस शाम का आखिरी अवार्ड है, अब तो तालियां बजा दीजिए। थैंक यू सो मच। This is our Platinum Scotch Award for Indian Overseas Bank for Risk Management and IOB Smart. And with this, we congratulate all the awardees. Sir is here to conclude.
So we have a pleasant problem. We are 10 minutes ahead of time. And the problem that creates is that the bar license is from 8 o'clock. So 10 minutes, Gurshan, would you take everyone's feedback? We can do a vox pop.
Yes, so we have Dr. Gursharan Dhanjalji, Vice Chairman Scotch.
All right, not a very difficult task in the evening for me, but yes, for you, maybe. So let me see the first hand going up. I'll come, I'll reach out to you. If not, then I'll come to you. Okay, let me start with the lady. So let's hear from you. What do you have to say on the experience that you had, the conversations that we had, and if there is anything that you would like to add?
Thank you, sir. Actually, we are very glad to attend the ceremony. It was a great show. It was a great event. And we are from Bihar State Cooperative Bank. First time we nominated for our project, JLG and SHG financing. With that, we aim to empower our rural economy, and this event really motivate and encourage us to to bring more projects and to explore more new things. With that, thank you so much. The event is really excellent. Thank you.
I know you will be full of appreciation, but if there is a word of critique that can come from somebody, I'll be very happy. Mic is to you.
Sorry, I was in discussion with someone else. I was not paying attention. Is there
I want you to add. I want you to add a word of criticism to help us improve this conference further when we do the 104th. What is it that we need to improve?
I think a lot of audience over here comes and would like to discuss a lot of ideas among themselves. So probably tea break in between might help to network them better, because a lot of people would have left by the time of the dinner would start or dinner would go on. So that's a good.
Oh, that's a very good feedback. So you're only saying that the tea break should be there in between, but yes, another 10 minutes when we are breaking for the drinks and the snacks, that's welcome, right?
No, so is I was just talking about the organization of the event, not about the award. Award definitely is a very good initiative, and it is recognizing the efforts by people in different organizations of different sizes, which I could notice, and recognizing those efforts which are generally not recognized by a lot of awards which are of larger fame, or this is also a fame, reputed award, obviously. But yes, thanks for recognizing these efforts, because people in the organizations like us, they are working with some motivation, and these are kind of awards gives them further motivation to work harder in those directions.
Well, thank you so much for that, comment, because it has always been the case, and what Scotch believes in is something that the value of the platform is bringing all the best practices together, and a learning and sharing experience that we have. You go back with a couple of learnings, and also at the same time get a chance to connect with others. And sometimes it also so happens that you don't really get a chance to meet with people from across the industry. Insurance will speak to insurance, bank will speak to bank, and the CSR people will speak only to CSR, and so is ESG, and so on and so forth. But yes, this is a multi-stakeholder platform, which is what we have. Over to you.
I think first of all, thank you so much, SKOCH Awards. SKOCH Awards, we are, I think in my opinion, very, very popular and very prestigious. One thing I would like to really thank is that the whole process has been really thorough. And for organizations like ours, which is a not-for-profit, it is really helpful for us to expand our work, because when we started this, we started with one of you said that Bhartiyata is what we stand for here, and we have to make sure that we do things for Bharat. So if that is one thing which at Sambandh Health Foundation we make sure that we are going to do that. We are working with schools. There are 15 lakh schools in Bharat, and we are so far in 3.5 lakh schools. We have developed a model that we can scale. So Scotch has really helped us, expanding. I'm sure we will expand our work and take it to all schools in Bharat. Jai Hind.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So that goes on to prove that whatever interventions that have been done by almost every one of you has potential to scale. And also some of them have really scaled, which have been probably emulated by others. And that is something which is what really is a motivating factor, that has always been a motivating factor for everybody at Scotch, because as you rightly said, the process that we follow is extremely rigorous. It is lengthy, and it takes nearly 4 to 6 months before we reach a stage wherein we all confluence together on this platform on a day when the best practices are celebrated. Well, thank you very much for your comments. May I walk over to you for your comments on what's been your experience in going through the process of selection, and also if there is anything that we need to improve.
Good evening to all. Firstly, we presented these two concepts, whatever we have built in, and we observed that the juries and other people who were attending the conference, that presentation, they were very attentive. Minutely, they have observed the projects in detail. They have asked numerous questions, and we were able to satisfy themselves. Like that, the process has gone up. So that means the selection process, the filtering process you people have followed, that is really very good, and it is giving, the satisfaction to the people who are joining into that. And that is the satisfaction we got, and we are also obviously happy that in both the categories our bank has been nominated and got the Platinum Award, which is a rare, I could not observe anybody else got it. So that is a proud moment for us and our team. Regarding the suggestion, I would like to say, when I first entered the room, I thought that you people have miscalculated the number of people, because the sitting arrangement was a little bit less. So next time you can think of a little bit bigger hall, because the people have participated in a large number, and a little bit inconvenience in sitting part. So next time you please take care. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We take that in our stride. We are looking for a bigger hall for the next session. And hopefully when we meet you next, we will be at a place where we'll be able to accommodate a larger number. Thank you very much. So Professor, let me come to you. You have not been a participant otherwise. First initiation into the Scotch conference. What's been your observation as an uninitiated person?
So firstly, I think, this has been one of the best summits that I've been to, because I just think, I look at it from multiple aspects. One is, of course, the content or what is being discussed. And I think, you know, having such a multidisciplinary panel that has been put together, it's great. Everybody's bringing or doing a kind of a interdisciplinary problem solving to a common goal. And I think no one better than, I think, the two captains today. You know, of course, one is Sameerji. You know, were very, very vocal and passionate about, you know, setting the context that all that, you know, eventually we are doing, you know, is about governance. And I think this is something that, you know, Modi ji has always been so passionately advocating. I think that is what we are also seeing in governance, of this whole maximum governance, minimum government, right? And I think, so that is one. The second is, you know, I think for me, the SKOCH Awards, of course, I love the branding actually, Sameerji. It's outstanding. Whoever has come up with the name of this foundation is brilliant when it comes to branding. But I think this is for me also the SOCH Awards, okay, minus the K, because it really, you know, made me think, and that's the second part. The third is, of course, you know, this is, I agree with that feedback that next time, you know, you should have a bigger venue, because I've never seen such a full house. You know, Delhi keeps having conferences every other day, you know, but one is, of course, the incentive is the food and the drinks, but I don't think that itself, that would be a very kind of a WhatsApp university statement to make, because clearly the research shows and the numbers show that people have thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really liked one aspect. I mean, these are small details since we're talking about it. You know, one is, of course, this small table. And I'm you know, as a professor, I always give attention to details. The small things make such a big difference. It just shows that, you know, because these are heavy, you know, awards to be carried, right? So I really like the fact that this small table was there so that, you know, it's convenient. Of course, everything was very well on time. I also like the fact that Sameerji, like me, is a little of a maverick. You know, he chose to, and he said that he understood the pulse of the crowd, and depending on that, you know, he made changes. So I think overall, and yeah, last but not the least, I think this India 2047 Center of Excellence, I don't know much about it, but I would, at least from my side, you know, volunteer to know a little bit more about it, support. My own work has been around the Viksit Bharat, so I would be very happy to be part of this. But I think overall, heartiest compliments. I wish I also got that, you know, this is one of the best, you know, awards that I've seen. All the other awards, organizers give small awards. So this is something which I really think people will cherish. And, you know, I'm also aware of the very, very stringent and robust jury process. So, you know, this has become one of the most, and that's why I wanted to, and thank you so much for inviting me this year, because it's really delightful and an honor for me to really see or be part of an award program. I am also on the jury, multiple awards, but I think this is something that has really, you know, this is one of the, in India, I think, top award programs which are so credible, the process, and of course, the award makes it something that everybody will, you know, pride for the rest of their lives. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Couple of things there. On the size of the venue, while it may have proven a little small for some of you, but the size of the heart that we have is so big that we accommodated all of you. And to share one anecdote, generally it so happens that, you know, during such conferences, summits, evaluations, we also go through a complete discovery process. Father of the CSR is sitting with us. And many organizations in last couple of years, ever since we instituted the award for ESG, participated. They have been today as well. And it was a discovery for those organizations themselves as to how they have been contributing to the carbon, how they have been contributing to ESG. Example there is Gujarat Gas. 2 years ago, they started supplying gas to the crematoria in the city of Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. They were on the platform. They were chosen for a best practice, and they did not know that what they are doing is contributing carbon, and they can actually get the credit for that. This is only our CSR. But that was, in fact, you know, saving so much of you know, fuel wood, and then the smoke have contributed greatly. So the perspective of everything changes when you come onto a platform like this. So certainly, there are many such instances that we come across. There have been a learning for us. there is a learning for others as well. And in fact, Girija is with us from, she has been awarded today for all the contributions that she has made when she was at GIC, followed by Agriculture Insurance Company, and the dramatic increase in the revenue, in last 3 years that you have been able to achieve. So that's been a great achievement. So I give the mic to you now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Samir Kocher, for this honor. It is truly a privilege to be here, to be honored like this, and I agree with Professor. It's a wonderful award to carry home, something we could always preserve. Thank you so much for this recognition. The awards were held in a very vibrant way. The topics that were discussed are so relevant today, and 2047 and Modiji's dream and the nation's aspiration, to be a developed nation. And all of us, I think, in whichever field we are from, I think all of us today, we resonate with the same vibration that we need to contribute towards that goal. And this award, I think, somewhere I've seen the categories and the projects that have been awarded that speak volumes about the quality of the awards, because you've actually brought in people from across different segments and awarded them for the kind of projects they're working on and the contribution to nation building. I think I had a wonderful time. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words. And I think now it is 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I have very good news. The bar is open. Please join us for drinks and dinner outside.
You talked about this one, this is also a best practice. This was a discovery. In fact, we never used to have this, and people would stand holding this heavy award. So we deliberated between the two of us as, what should we do? And he came up with an idea, let's create a stool. And that too, with a groove in between, so that when you put the award, it doesn't slip away.
So I just wanted to, this is a very, since we are all, talking about Bharat and the excellent work that we are doing, and, we spoke about a little bit of geopolitics, and we know that, this is India's decade, and Dr. Chatterjee spoke about the Bharatiya model. But I also want us to feel very proud about a feat of our country, which, unfortunately has not been spoken about widely. The media has not covered it. And today, since we have the father of CSR, you said, I also wanted to tell everyone that Dr. Chatterjee now, if you Google, is also the father of CSR and sustainability, because he has been given a new mandate by the government of India. And Dr. Chatterjee, I would actually, as a member of that committee, I think that what was shown by SKOCH Awards, the indicators, and a little bit, I think we invite all of you, because Dr. Chatterjee has actually been given the responsibility of formulating the first ever sustainability. India will be the first ever country to have its own sustainability reporting standards. And that journey has already been started. Dr. Chatterjee, as a father of sustainability, also has been given that mandate. And as a member, sir, of course, you are the chairperson, but as a member of that committee, Samirji, I invite SKOCH Foundation and your research team to, if you could also share some of these indicators, because this is in Janhit. So thank you so much.
Well, just to add to that, one last bit. When Mr. Kocher said that, he changes things on the fly. So sometimes, it also leads to, while change in the program, leads to some drops as well. In fact, what you talked about is the SKOCH reporting indicators, the presentation that I had, but due to the shuffling, I could not do. That is what we have created, keeping in mind all the ESG efforts that are being undertaken around the world. We came up with the ESG framework to start with. Then we added digital transformation to it. We also added corporate excellence to it. We added corporate digital responsibility to it. And we also added human rights in business, because those are the things which generally go unnoticed. Well, those are the things which is, which is part of a larger discussion. We would certainly have another session and get connected with you. And with this, I thank everyone, and Mr. Kocher has picked up the mic.
That is where those 10 extra minutes came from. My mistake, sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude 103rd SKOCH Summit. आप सभी का हम आभार व्यक्त करते हैं. इसी के साथ इस सत्र से, इस सेशन से हम विराम लेते हैं. आप सभी को हम आमंत्रित करते हैं प्रीति भोज के लिए. थैंक यू सो मच लेडीज़ एंड जेंटलमैन. नमस्कार, शुभ रात्रि, जय हिंद.